so you don't have time for meetings with politicians, presentations to committees, and tracking legislation that will affect your farm. This is where APAS comes in. Your APAS representative, the APAS Board of Directors, and the Canadian Federation of Agriculture all work together to represent you. APAS is there when you can't be. Visit apas.ca and become a member today.
You want to stay in the loop without any hassle. Well, we've got the perfect solution for you. The Regina Today newsletter. Get the Regina Today newsletter delivered straight to your phone. No searching, no scrolling, just all the latest news, events, and contests when you want it. Text the word news to 306-936-6262 and get the inside scoop sent straight to your inbox. Regina Today from sasktoday.ca, bringing the city to your fingertips.
Broadcasting from Century Studios in downtown Regina, Harvard Media presents The Sportscage, where Saskatchewan comes to talk local sports. Brought to you by Kellen Solar, installing solar in residential and commercial buildings for 35 years. Local and trusted. Kellen Solar. Visit kellensolar.com. Be part of the show. Call 1-866-767-0620 or text 306-936-6262. The Sports Cage. Streaming at sportscage.com, our YouTube channel, and on the radio at 620 CKRM.
It was a busy weekend in sports and one that gave us some answers to some questions that may or may not make you feel better or worse about your team. The Jays, one of the best stories in Major League Baseball this year, they took on the LA Dodgers. And some people were calling it a potential World Series preview. But if these two do end up in the World Series, it may be a short series. In the first two games, the Dodgers showed just how good and how complete of a team that they are. Yesterday, though, the Jays showed why they're tops in the AL East with that scrappy, never say die attitude. They picked up a win. Okay, feel a little better. NFL preseason started, and the whole world was ready to explode on Friday night and wreck the internet if Shedeur Sanders played bad for the Cleveland Browns. But he didn't. He threw 2 touchdowns and the Browns won. He totally derailed a whole bunch of plans for everybody just to go wild. Never happened. Could the Browns have a good situation in their quarterback room as far as a good problem, which they haven't had in years? And we also found out that the teams in the West Division, the CFL, are just going to roll over and throw in the towel for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, who were on the bye this past week. We saw some fight out of the Lions, the Elks, the Bombers, and the Stamps. So what does that mean going forward as the Riders will get back to work tomorrow? Welcome to the Monday edition of the Sports Cage. How are you? It's Maz in for Barney this week. For the next 3 hours, we're talking sports. If you're starting your summer vacation today, and you're flying somewhere and it's on Air Canada, get to the airport as fast as you possibly can, because if you've heard, flight attendants could be in a strike position by Saturday. And then from there, it's all bets are off. No idea. And if you are going on vacation, this is crazy. I'm sure you've heard of this. What was it, late last week? Nova Scotia said, do not go into the forest. You get a ticket for $25,000. So a guy went into the forest and got a ticket for $25,000. With taxes, fees, service charges. You know, if you've ever had to pay a ticket, there's always some sort of surcharge. $28,800. Little travel tip from your friend Maz there. And don't go on vacation with 15 family members. I think we covered that off a lot last week. Hey, if you're listening on 620 CKRM, we appreciate it. If you've got us on that CKRM app, download that, Apple or Android, from the store there, and sign up for the notifications, because anytime any breaking news happens, boom, we'll hit it for you right on your phone. It comes in especially handy during the Rider games. You won't miss a beat with everything going on there. We're always streaming this show on our social channels. If you're following on X, Elon Musk's baby, at Sportscage, give us a follow, and on YouTube, subscribe. And we love comments. You want to be in on the conversation? Hey, throw a comment in there. You can be part of the show. Speaking of that, as always, Prairie Land Rentals text line is open as well, 306-936-6262. The show is brought to you by Kellen Solar, 35 years of experience moving water from a dugout or a well without electricity. You can visit kellensolar.com to find out more for your livestock operation. Ooh, on the local front, in the PFC, the season kicked off on the weekend. Regina Thunder opened the on the road beating the Edmonton Huskies. Nice win, 31-16. The Edmonton Wildcats beat the Calgary Colts 35-19. But probably the shocker of the weekend in the PFC, the Winnipeg Rifles blowing out. And we don't often ever say that when you talk about a Saskatoon Hilltop team. They blew out the Hilltops 31-11 yesterday. I think it's the Thunder's. The target is on them this year. They're good, cream of the crop. It's theirs to win and to move on. The Regina Red Sox are one win away from the WCBL final. They beat the Saskatoon Berries last night, 8-7 in 11 innings. Were you watching online on the Red Sox website? It's crazy. The Berries can score a lot of runs. I think they got lucky beating the Moose Jaw Miller Express. They can score a lot of runs. They just don't play a lot of defense. Aiden Page was the winning pitcher for the Sox. 4 innings of work, 0 runs allowed, struck out 6. Game 2 is tonight at Curry Field. First pitch at 7 o'clock. Over 900 tickets are already sold. There is that threat of a thunderstorm, but it's a 6-10, 60% shot. Should be a decent night for ball at Curry. With a win tonight, the Red Sox will move on to the WCBL final to play either the Sylvan Lake Gulls or the Okotoks Dogs. And speaking of baseball, we'll get to the Jays weekend in LA against the Dodgers in just a few minutes with our first guest, Shan Virjee from The Fan. But it was good. We learned a lot. It was really interesting. But I want to start. Let's go back to Friday night in the NFL preseason. Browns and Panthers. Normally, let's be honest, Sportscage listener, normally if someone said, do you want to watch the Cleveland Browns and the Carolina Panthers preseason game? Most of you would say, no, not a chance. You probably couldn't pay me to watch that garbage. That's going to be a bad folk out. But no one normally cares about that game, except for the fact that Shedeur Sanders was going to be the starting quarterback for the Browns. 5th on the depth chart. Slid in the draft. Someone thought he may go in the first round. Slid all the way down. To say that social media doesn't like this guy, I think is a bit of an understatement. It's not his fault he's Deion Sanders' kid. Maybe they shouldn't have retired his jersey at the University of Colorado. That may be a little premature, okay? That's on them. But until the Sanders, dad and sons, and Travis Hunter showed up, when was Colorado ever relevant or even brought up in a college football discussion in the past 2 decades? Never. So Shedeur Sanders gets the start. So what did he do? He went out and he played well. He threw 2 touchdowns, and the Browns won 30-10. So what does this do? It muddies the waters for the Browns and their quarterback situation. They got Joe Flacco in there. Is Deshaun Watson still even in the mix, or are they just trying to get rid of that contract? You know, the one person we do owe an apology to, because we've been ribbing him about it ever since he said it months ago. He'll be coming up on the show later today. Is Darian Durant. Remember last year he said early in the NFL season, he said Jaden Daniels is special in Washington. Mm-hmm. And then by the end of the year, Jaden Daniels is pretty special in Washington. Darian said he thought that Shedeur Sanders could be the starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns by week 1, just because of everything else in their quarterback room. So obviously a quarterback that played at the highest level like Darian and won sees some things. And obviously there's some stuff there. Now, is it a 1-week flash in the pan? We don't know. Is he going to get some more snaps and reps in the upcoming preseason games? Probably. I would love to know, because we all do this, right? We're in a meme-heavy world. A lot of us, because when we go on social media, we want bangers, right? If we shoot a bullet, we want the bullseye. The bomb, like in Top Gun Maverick's got to hit that tiny target and just blow up the whole uranium mine. So we save things, memes that we find funny, or we create things waiting for the perfect time. I would love to know how much ammunition Shedeur Sanders memes didn't get used on Friday night because he played well and they won the game. There are probably millions of things stuck on phones everywhere that haven't seen the light of day yet. Maybe they'll come out this weekend. I don't know. But good on you. You know what? Maybe getting drafted that low and being fifth on the depth chart is the exact dose of humility that he needs to go out there and prove. Even his brother played well. Shiloh Sanders for the Buccaneers, DB, had a quarterback pressure. Oh, that's right. On this show, we don't believe in quarterback pressures. Probably the one interesting thing just over the weekend, some are calling it the best weekend of CFL football this season. The headline, I would say, is the CFL West isn't dead. If the Elks and Lions would have lost to the East, and we know someone had to win between Calgary and Winnipeg, I may be looking at the 7-1 Saskatchewan Roughriders a little differently. But we saw some fight out of the Elks. Now, granted, it's a Montreal team with McLeod Bethel Thompson at quarterback and injuries and all that. But Cody did what Cody does. Edmonton goes on the road and wins in Montreal. Last second touchdown, 23-22. It's not pretty, but it's Cody. Cody's a gamer. No matter what you want to say, he's kind of got a knack for it. Yes, it is not instructional film that you would show a young football player of how to play the position, but somehow it just worked. We saw the Lions against the Ticats come back, scrap for a win there. And Calgary and Winnipeg played some good football on Saturday. The Riders 7-1 and a bye. I think it's game on. Early in the season, I think it was Charleston Hughes when he was on said, one of the things that is benefiting the Riders this year that they didn't have last year is continuity. Same coaching staff, same system. Guys are getting comfortable learning how to play fast. Well, if you look at Edmonton and BC, new coaches, new systems, they're still learning, and maybe they're starting to turn the corner. And that glimmer of hope. Calgary, same thing. You know what? Coaches are the same, but they've got a whole bunch of new players, and it's going to be a dogfight. The teeth of the schedule, as it's been said, for the Riders. Ticats, Stamps, Bombers. Oh, our today's Sportscage poll question. Who's your MOP at this point of the season? Trevor Harris, Bo Levi Mitchell, or Vernon Adams Jr.? Bo's been good, but I've got to go with Vernon Adams Jr. at this point. Because Vernon Adams Jr. has faced adversity. And what I mean by that is he's been out of the lineup and they haven't played well. He's had to come in and he's had to kind of will themselves to some wins where it's kind of like he's kind of had to do a good chunk of it. I find with Trevor Harris, and hey, when you're 7-1, why shouldn't you be considered to be the MOP? You're on fire. Statistical categories leading the way. But I found that there's been some complete games there. And some people say, Maz, up until last game, we can't close it out, step on the neck. But Trevor has had some help along the way, where at times, Bo Levi, and especially Vernon Adams, hasn't. A lot of strangers on that. It's funny, you're watching the game on Saturday, a lot of strangers on that Stampeder roster you've never heard of before. And I thought the Bombers played well. Zach Caleros, 4-4. Like I say, it doesn't really matter till it matters. You can vote. Who's your MOP? Go to sportscage.com, and when you're there, you can sign up for the Insider newsletter. Every day around this time, boom, in your inbox, all the breaking news. All the stuff that we're going to have on the show each and every day, and some of the inside information that you won't find anywhere else. From our voice of the Riders, Dave Thomas. Riders will get back to work tomorrow as the bye week is over. Coming up on the show today, in just a couple of minutes, Shan Virjee from The Fan is on to talk Blue Jays with us. Dustin Forbes, the play-by-play voice of the Lethbridge Hurricanes, will join us just after 4 o'clock to chat about, I think it's safe to say, it's a mass defection of WHL high-end talent that's going to the NCAA this fall to chase NIL money and what that's going to do to the league going forward. I mean, Barney talked to Willie Desjardins of the Medicine Hat Tigers last week. Nobody in the CHL is more decimated than Willie Desjardins and his Medicine Hat Tigers. Caden Lindstrom and Gavin McKenna. Oh, and Ryder Ritchie, just gone. Sorry. There you go. Now you got to fill 3 spots. You just don't replace players like that. Oh, and as well, it's a special edition of Double Talk with Darian Durant today. So Darian's on Mondays at 5. A lot of times we'll have Charleston Hughes on, other times throughout the week. And I'm like, why don't we try and get you two guys together? They played against each other. I don't think they ever crossed paths in Rider Nation. I think it was a year or two off. We'll ask that question. But coming up on Double Talk today, Darian Durant and Charleston Hughes. We may go a little long on that one, but for good reason. This is the Sports Cage on the home of local sports in Saskatchewan. We're going to take our first break. We'll be right back. You're listening to 620 CKRM.
If you've got a Steelcraft garage door, you've got a door with parts manufactured and assembled right here in Canada. A door with better insulation and seal, plus a warranty you're probably never going to use. And if you don't have a Steelcraft garage door, you should get one. Don't just hang a door, install a Steelcraft. Turn curb appeal into curb envy.
Steelcraft door, Steelcraft door, Steelcraft door. We offer more.
Steel-craft.ca.
Did you know over 1.3 million homeowners call on Reliance for their water heater needs? With over 140,000 five-star online reviews and over 60 years experience, you could say Reliance Heath are water heater experts. Switch to Reliance Heath today. They'll give you $200 plus standard installation is included. For all your hot water needs,
Call on Reliance.
Visit waterheaterrentals.com for details. Terms and conditions apply.
The ball is snapped. He scans the field. He's going deep. What a play! Rider fans, make your own great play by going to riders5050.ca. You can now buy tickets for every Rider game, home or away. You can also sign up for the 50/50 Club and never miss a draw, including the weekly loyalty and early bird prizes. All proceeds support amateur football in Saskatchewan, equipping the heartland, and just maybe score a big win. Get your tickets today at riders5050.ca and go Riders! Riders 50/50 is presented by ISC.
Two-Way Service, your Ford dealer in Southie, continue to have big-time deals going on for their 2024 clear-out. Save $10,000 on the last 2024 Bronco Sport. Save $8,000 on the last 2024 Ford Escape. Save $4,500 on the last 2024 Ranger. And check out our great selection of 2025s with savings up to $10,000. Plus, get a trip for two to Vegas with every purchase. Two-Way Service in Southie. Take the short drive to Southie now. You'll be glad you did. TwoWayService.com.
Working with asphalt, sealant, or tar can be a sticky mess. It gets everywhere and on everything. Keep your rollers, truck, and tools clean with environmentally friendly asphalt release agent from Milligan Bio. This grown in Saskatchewan solution is made using locally sourced canola. It's safe for the environment, prevents stick-on asphalt, and reduces buildup that's already there. And you'll use less than other products on the market. Great for all paving situations. Asphalt release agent from Milligan Bio. Get yours today at milliganbio.com.
Don't miss a minute of Sportscage. Podcasts are posted at sportscage.com. 620 CKRM.
Saskatchewan Roughrider Foundation 50/50 is giving you the chance to win a Sparkling Hill Spa getaway this week. It's flights to Kelowna, 2 nights hotel at the Sparkling Hill Resort, and the Kerr Spa Couples Massage. You can win the trip or take $4,500 in cash. Your entry deadline is Thursday at 5. You can buy your tickets online at riders5050.ca. This week, the Saskatchewan Roughriders taking on the Hamilton Ticats. It's a Saturday early game, which is part of a doubleheader on TSN, which means the 620 CKRM Cooperators Rider Broadcast Network has countdown to kickoff starting at 10 on Saturday morning. The Rider pregame show goes at noon, and Dave and Luke will have the call. Ticats and Riders kickoff goes at 1 o'clock. This is the Sports Cage on 620 CKRM. It's Maz in for Barney, and as always, if you want to connect and be part of the show, Prairie Land Rentals text line 306-936-6262. How was your weekend? What did you think of those Toronto Blue Jays in LA? First couple games weren't necessarily awesome, but yesterday it was a gutsy performance by the Jays. And our next guest on the Western Pizza Guest Hotline joins us to talk about that. He's Shan Virjee from the Fan 960 in Calgary. He covers the Blue Jays for them. Shan, how are you? Thanks for taking time to be part of the show. You've got to feel good after the Jays avoiding the sweep yesterday and picking up a big win, don't you?
Oh, no kidding. It's been fun to watch this team so far. And look, this is a Dodgers team that we know exactly how good they are. We know exactly what they can be. They're the defending champions, and for the Jays to pick up that win, it was a gutsy win. It was not one that they cruised by. It was a couple home runs in the eighth, and then obviously Ernie Clement gets the winner. But it also took the entire bullpen, and a lot of these players are guys they acquired at the deadline. So yeah, it's been fun to watch this team, no doubt. And to get that one win against the Dodgers, I think going into the postseason, that can go really far.
If we go back to before the series started, a lot of people were talking, hey, this could be a potential World Series preview. And I think for a lot of Jays fans, and I know, Shan, I'm probably a little older than you, I remember 92 and 93 when they won those World Series. Now, it's been a long time. There's been a little bit of heartache and pain in the 3 decades since then. But in games 1 and 2, the Dodgers showed just how complete of a team they are. Forget the fact that they have the highest payroll in baseball, because they do. It's $322 million. Did you not feel that they played 2 very complete baseball games in games 1 and 2, regardless of who their competition when they're just good from top to bottom?
That's what the Dodgers have done for so long after acquiring Shohei Ohtani specifically, because that's pretty scary bat to face. But you look at shortstop and you see Mookie Betts. You look at first and you see Freddie Freeman. And you see all this talent. Obviously, Teoscar Hernandez, somebody that Jays fans know very well. They just and on top of that, they have how many good starting pitchers and how many good bullpen arms. It's a team that they're intimidating to play against because you don't get much of a break. And that's, I think, what the Jays are trying to become. That's what every team is trying to become is a team that through and through the lineup they are that good and they can be a threat at all times. And it's the starting pitching that, and yeah, you talk about their payroll. They're able to bring in a lot of talented players, and it's not. I'm not sitting here saying it's not fair. It's what you want to do when you're a contending team. But yeah, this is a Dodgers team that won the World Series simply because they had a collection of the best players in the MLB. There wasn't a whole lot of luck involved. They were that good, and it's when you have guys that have been there, done that. You have guys that have been to multiple All-Stars. They've been major award winners, and on top of that, you have who I think is the best athlete on the planet, not just baseball. I think you have the best athlete on the planet, which is Shohei Ohtani. It's really hard to play against that team, and I think when you look at what the Toronto Blue Jays are doing this season, they're number 1 in batting average. They have people like Tyler Heineman batting over 300. They have other players down the lineup that are showing some flashes early on in their career, and that's contributed to what the Jays success has been so far. But yeah, when you play a team like the Dodgers that are so hard to play through and through, it makes it a tough out.
Watching the game yesterday at the in-laws, we got into the discussion. Shohei Ohtani, I don't disagree with you. Incredible athlete. Bad at gambling, good at baseball. But then we were talking about, I'm like, I knew the Dodgers had the highest payroll, but I was like, well, let's see where the Jays, I didn't realize the Jays are number 5 in payroll at $233 million. So it's not like the front office isn't spending. I know in that second game where it was 9-1, what was it? Blake Snell, 10 strikeout. I thought that was a game that really exposed the Jays in some areas. I know with was in the first game there with Clayton Kershaw, and I forgot how I hadn't watched a Clayton Kershaw pitch game in a while. It's very frustrating. I'm glad there's a pitch clock now because it's very frustrating to watch him set up.
Yeah.
But you watch Snell just mow through the lineup and go up and down, and it didn't look like the Jays had any answers. And that's what I worry about, especially going into the wild card. 5 games, short series, hot pitching. If the bats aren't hot, but yesterday come back, it was a gutsy win. And like you had said, they used everybody in the bullpen. Yep. Would you have pulled Hoffman one batter before the whole, I know Ohtani was the guy that got it out. Would you have pulled Hoffman before or after he walked the second batter?
Well, it's an interesting question because Jeff Hoffman was brought in to be the closer, and in many games this season has been a really good closer. Now, we've also seen in many games he's also struggled, and specifically on the first batter, he's walked the first batter 5 times, and that's not what you want from your closer. So it's an interesting question, but I think at this part of the season, you're playing the Los Angeles Dodgers, and to give them that extra batter is basically saying, we want you to be our guy in the postseason. Can you be that person? And it ended up being Mason Fluharty coming in to save that game. But you know, at this point of the season, I'm okay with keeping him in there because you need to have a number one closer when you head into the postseason. But if it was that postseason and he's walked a couple batters already, loaded the bases, I would have taken him up. Absolutely. And that is becoming an interesting discussion. You bring in all these relievers to help you in your playoff push, but can any of those guys be the number one closer? Because at the end of the day, none of those guys have been on a playoff team the number one closer when it all comes down to it. So I'm okay with keeping him in for that game. When it gets down to the nitty gritty and you need an out, I'm absolutely switching pitchers there.
All right, let's talk wild card. Jays, Tigers, Astros, Red Sox, Mariners, Yankees. What's the one team that scares you the most that you don't want the Toronto Blue Jays to come up against?
Probably the team that's playing the worst right now, and that's New York Yankees. It doesn't matter if they squeak in. Oh, it doesn't matter if they squeak in by one game. That is the team I'm most concerned about. It's Aaron Judge that can hit a home run. You've got a really good pitching staff. And going back to that earlier conversation, one thing the Jays have done well is attack starting pitchers and get them out of the game earlier than usual. I know sometimes you face an ace and so be it, but Max Fried's a guy the Jays have gotten to this year. Rodon's a guy the Jays have gotten to this year. But with that being said, when it comes down to it, this is a Yankees team that just made the World Series. It's a Yankees team that can hit a home run basically at any moment. And look, I know that the defensive woes are there, no doubt about it. They have a lot of errors. It's become a problem. Look at what's happening with Anthony Volpe, and this that fan base is certainly on edge. But at the end of the day, they have a collection of very talented players and probably the best hitter we've seen in a long time in Aaron Judge. So, and look, there's no discredit to the Astros. I think the Mariners made some really good moves, and the Red Sox have been super hot. I don't really want to play any of those teams, but I understand that, baseball is, in terms of the major four sports, it's the smallest postseason. So you will face a good team right away. I think that's why it's super important for the Jays to win their division and get into that spot, because then if it's the Red Sox and the Yankees playing each other, you hope that's a 3-game series and there's 3 starters, 1, 2, 3 gone, right? So that's what I really like about the Jays situation right now. But when it comes down to it, I don't want to see Aaron Judge in the postseason.
Shan, Virjee from The Fan in Calgary is joining us. We're talking Major League Baseball. As far as the wild card goes, the one team that I kind of don't want to see, because I think they're very similar to the Jays, are the Seattle Mariners. Mm-hmm. Some nights they can play great defense. They can win a game 3-2, but they can also win a game 10-5. Pitching's there when they need it. The bats can come alive. They can get hot. They're kind of like the Jays at times. You don't know what you're going to get. Sometimes the fireworks just start going off, and you saw that this weekend. I mean, they're hitting clutch home runs, and that ballpark, it looks like a lot of fun. To me, they're too similar to the Jays, and that's what scares me, is because you don't know which fundamental baseball and bunting for singles probably really isn't in the Blue Jay or Mariner handbook.
Yeah, not exactly. And you look at a guy like Cal Raleigh, obviously he's lighting up the majors this year. By the way, best nickname in the world, I think, with Big Dumper. That's unbelievable. But you look at their big addition was Eugenio Suarez, and he is a big bat. I've watched a lot of Diamondbacks games. I really enjoyed watching that team, but that was the big move. And I thought the Yankees would be the team to get him, and that scared me. And then Seattle picks him up, and you look, okay, that's a team that's got, their catcher is dominating right now. They have a great pitching staff, a very scary pitching staff when it comes to the postseason. And I think it's the most important part, having that pitching staff that it doesn't really matter who goes out there. You have confidence in everybody, but you add a couple bats. You obviously add another reliever there. Seattle is a team that scares me. Absolutely. I think this is interesting this year in the American League because there's no team that's running away with it except for the Toronto Blue Jays. But even then, it's not that far of a gap. They've just been super hot since the All-Star break. But there's no team that you look at and say, I have them as the absolute favorite to win the AL, no doubt about it. So it could be a Seattle. It could be a Toronto. It could be a Boston who got hot at the right time. But Seattle is one of those teams that there's not many holes in that lineup. And you're right. They can win any way they need to.
As far as the National League goes, you got Milwaukee, LA, Philadelphia, Chicago, New York, and San Diego. And the Jays start a series with the Cubs tomorrow night. I'll still call it the Sky Dome. You get 3 against the Cubs. And they're not the Dodgers, but they're having a good year. And I think sometimes it just gets overshadowed. Like when you have the Ohtanis and you get all of those other big names, Chicago is just quietly having a year. Now, if you're a Cubs fan, you'd be like, Maz, are you crazy or whatever? We've been good all year. And there's a lot of people talking about us. It seems they don't get the publicity that the Dodgers do, but the Cubs have put together a real nice season.
Absolutely. And I think when you look at the top teams in the National League and the top teams in the American League, I'm probably looking at the National League and saying, I think the favorite to win the World Series will come out of the NL. Chicago is one of those teams that, they've been on the rise. And you look at a couple really good outfielders, obviously PCA, Pete Crow Armstrong, he's been dominating. He was an all-star this year. And then Kyle Tucker, that's another really good bat out there. So it's a good team. It's a really good team. I think we've been so focused on the American League, obviously this year, because it's just like for the Jays, just win one series. That's got all you're hoping. And then now you also you've created the expectation that you can be a World Series team. But when you look at the National League and how good they are, like the Cubs can beat the Dodgers in this series. The Dodgers haven't been perfect this year. They still are the most talented team, in my opinion. They haven't been perfect. And I think the Padres are another team that are pretty scary. There's a lot of talent out there in the National League, but Chicago, they're a team that, and you'll see, you're getting the Dodgers followed by Chicago. This is the last litmus test until the push for the postseason. I think most people, including the Jays themselves, know what that team is. They've had some good wins, they've had some bad losses, and they've also worked on a lot to get to the point that they're at right now. But the Chicago Cubs will be the last final litmus test to see where this Jays team really ranks up.
I think I like Bo Bichette with long hair. The home run jacket. Do they add stuff to the back of that? That's another thing. Shan, I would have to say, I'm trying to remember the last time it's been, what's the date today? August 11th. And as a Blue Jay fan, I'm still engaged. And I'm more engaged than I have been in a long time. And it's kind of good because there's nothing worse, right? Oh, it's the middle of July and the Jays are out of it. When do the Riders play next, and when does the NHL preseason start? Speaking of that, you work at the Fan 960 in Calgary, and you guys are the voice of the Calgary Flames, and it's always next year territory. We've had Ryan Pinder on the show before. We've had Pat Steinberg on the show before. Flames are always kind of middle of the pack, the draft or whatever. You know, the Oilers, McDavid and Draisaitl apparently are on a double honeymoon over in Paris right now. Maybe that'll be an advantage in a few weeks when everybody hits the ice. Let's shift there. Could this be the year for Craig Conroy and the gang where we could see the Flames actually do something and put it together and crawl and scratch their way into a playoff spot?
Real quick before I get to that, you're right. During the summer, if the Jays aren't playing well, I don't know what's going on. And last year we had the Olympics, which was an absolute treat, but obviously that doesn't go for 3 months. So the off season is always interesting. I'm getting excited for hockey again. It's August 11th. It's still a long ways away, but we've had some interesting conversations about the Calgary Flames because there's been so much movement over the last 2 seasons. And Craig Conroy is not a rookie GM anymore. He's been here for a few seasons and obviously has been a part of the Flames organization for a long time as a manager. But I don't see this as the year where they scratch and claw their way to what they did last season. I mean, they tied a record for most points without making the playoffs. It was unfortunate, no doubt about it. You wanted to see that team get rewarded for their hard work because at the end of the day, like they didn't have the McDavids to carry them that far. They didn't have that super talented player, but you saw Nazem Kadri step up, take a huge step. Jonathan Huberdeau took a big step, which as we know in Calgary, that is the big conversation. But the emergence of Dustin Wolf is something it's been spectacular. This is a young kid that's full of confidence. He's not cocky. He is confident, but he will tell you that he's confident. And it's such a cool thing to see. But with that being said, this is an NHL that a lot of the teams at the bottom are getting better. I think you can look at San Jose, you can look at Chicago, you can look at teams like that. I think Pittsburgh will fall to the bottom for a while, but it's a lot of the teams that have struggled, say the Anaheims, teams like that. they are taking big steps. And Calgary didn't make any moves to get better, which I'm okay with. Look, a draft pick is important. To get that number one center, I think you need a draft pick. By the way, that kid Gavin McKenna, if you've heard about him, not bad. So I wouldn't mind getting that first overall for the Calgary Flames. But it's a team that, you know what, this is still a rebuilding process. They're waiting for the new arena, and that's the goal, is to be a good team in 27, 28 when that new arena is there. And I'm okay with going through the quote-unquote growing pains. This is still a young team. Yeah, there's some veterans there, but still a young team. And Matt Coronado, Connor Zary, and obviously Dustin Wolf, and then Zane Parekh. You hope he makes the team. It's an exciting young core. I think Craig Conroy's done a really good job drafting recently. But yeah, this is a Flames team that if they don't make the playoffs and they get a good draft pick, you will not hear a complaint from me. But I'm also not sitting here saying, man, I really hope they lose every game. No one wants that, right?
Well, as far as rooting for people to lose, I bet you there's nobody happier than you guys, the biggest Florida Panther fans in Alberta, when they hoisted that cup again and again. I'm sure you guys would have paid for flights to the Elbow Room for fans to go down just to be part of that celebration. Shan, thanks for this. Let's do this again as the Jays get further into the season. Nothing can stop us now. 93 was a long ways. It was a long time ago, but there's nothing to say that the Jays can't. And listen, as a Rogers cell phone customer, if the Jays do win the World Series, you can raise my rates, just because that money I'm paying is going to a very good baseball team, and it brought home a championship we haven't seen in 3 decades.
Yeah, no kidding. Hey, I was -8 when the Jays won the last World Series, so I would like to see it at the age of 24 now. I also wish I could have come on here and said something bad about the Roughriders, but that record looks pretty good. So next time, let's hope they pick up a few losses and I can make fun of you guys.
All right, Shan, thanks for doing this. We appreciate it. Shan Virjee from the Fan 916 Calgary on here talking about the Jays. Did he say he was 24? I'm old. Old and getting older. This, depending on the profession or the thing, that it's a young man's game. I think just everything's turned into a young person's game. Wow, 24. Oof. I was going to say, not a lot of good decisions being made at 24 by this person here. I'm going to say that hasn't necessarily changed throughout life as far as 24. Wow, seems super responsible. Thanks for doing that. Yeah, Jays off today. Start that series with the Cubs tomorrow. First pitch tomorrow night. We'll go at 5:07. Let's take another break here on the Cage. The Riders back to practice tomorrow, but making news today with a signing from one of their drafts. And I think this guy, the potential is there. He makes that lineup, could get on the roster, could be a difference maker. Oh, and by the way, the Riders show coach's show is coming up today around 4:30. Jordan Linnen, defensive assistant, will be joining us today. This is the Sports Cage on the home of local sports in Saskatchewan, 620 CKRM.
Danceland at Manitou Beach is proud to present SCMA multi-award winner J.J. Voss and a damn good band. Saturday, September 13th. J.J. Voss.
And all I know is I wanna go home.
Advance tickets for the barbecue buffet and dance, $65. Burger and beer is $50. The bus tour departing from Regina is $35. So you can take the tour, enjoy the buffet and the dance for only $100. The football game will be on during supper. Then J.J. Voss and a damn good band in the historic Danceland Ballroom, home of the horsehair dance floor.
Some people just gotta dance.
Don't miss a very special night with J.J. Voss and a damn good band. Saturday, September 13th in the Danceland Ballroom at beautiful Manitou Beach. Get tickets and information now at danceland.ca.
If your garage door is running a little rough, you don't need to be talked into something that you don't need.
Sir, what you need is the new gigantic-esque, voluminous, astronomical, ginormous, gargantuan, exquisite air garage.
Just call Busy Bee Doors, the local experts who have been in business for many, many doors. They can fix or replace any commercial or garage door.
Wait. With me, you get a little garage door keychain, please.
Busy Bee Doors, the garage door specialists.
Come watch former pro and collegiate level players battle it out for the national championship. The Baseball Canada Men's National Championships are coming to Optimus Park in Curry Field. Get a full event pass for just $50 or grab a day pass for $20. Twilight games after 5 p.m. are only $10. Tickets are available at the gate. August 20th opening ceremonies and Home Run Derby are completely free. Bring a glove. These bats don't miss. The Baseball Canada Men's National Championships are coming to Optimus Park in Curry Field. See you at the park.
Since 1942, Unifor 594 has safely served the community and the ever-changing energy sector. We are the unionized workers at the Co-op Refinery in Regina and the Co-op Ethanol Complex in Belle Plaine. We are process operators, tradespeople, lab techs, warehouse workers, tank car loaders, administration staff, and so much more. Unifor 594 workers are also your neighbors, your friends, your volunteers, your community. Unifor 594. Safety is our business.
This summer, if you're thinking of a new building, think Olympic Buildings. They're engineered from top to bottom to be better than the rest. Strength, solid design, and impressive good looks are all standard on an Olympic farm building. Visit olympic-buildings.ca.
Introducing the new Seco Formula 77 Stain and Sealer. One coat, zero mistakes, spectacular results. With 30% off until August 20th, it really is that easy. Seco. C-Color.
Text CKRM 306-936-6262. From skid steers to tents to power tools, anything you need to rent for that summer job is at Prairie Land Rentals. Deal with the owner, 600 Albert Street. It's time for the Sports Ticker, brought to you by Reliance Heath Water Heater Rentals. For all your hot water needs, call on Reliance Heath today.
Playoffs tonight. Game 2 between the Regina Red Sox and the Saskatoon Berries. Sox won last night 8-7 in extra innings. With a win, the Sox will move on to the final to play either the Sylvan Lake Gulls or the Okotoks Dogs. First pitch tonight at Curry Field goes at 7 o'clock. Over 900 tickets have already been sold. So if you're just planning on walking up, take your chances, or you can go to the Red Sox website and grab your tickets right now. Jays are off today, start a series with the Cubs tomorrow at home. On the ice at the Hlinka Gretzky Cup, Canada beat Finland 5-3. Tomorrow they take on Switzerland. The UFC and CBS Paramount have struck a 7-year, $7.7 billion deal, which will have all UFC events stream on the Paramount Plus app at no extra charge starting in 2026. And the Saskatchewan Roughriders have signed first-round global draft pick Sylvain Jungen. Originally from Belgium, 6'4", 260, he's played 5 years at Georgia Tech. The Riders will get back to work tomorrow after their bye week, getting ready for the Ticats, who they'll take on Saturday. It's Maz here doing the Sports Cage. Colson, one of the double C's running things here at Century Studios. Our Sports Cage poll today, who's your MOP at this point in the season? Trevor Harris, Bo Levi Mitchell, or Vernon Adams Jr.? And I had said big play VA. Colson, we're, 9 games in on this season. Who's your MOP candidate so far to this point, and why?
Like you said initially, like you can't deny the record for the Riders, 7-1, and Trevor just balling out and all of that. But at the same time, Bo is Bo, and he's slinging it. And even when he's been double covering Lawler, he's been picking other people. And like I'm just thinking of the Tiger Cats and the Lions last 2 matchups that were just complete, like, what's the word? Shootouts. That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah.
And so, because it's one thing to be just slinging the ball, just getting big numbers. It's another to be doing it and winning. And they were on a 6-game winning streak until they lost to the Lions. So,
yeah, and it was unfortunate in that game, and that wasn't on Bo, that Tim White in overtime, fighting for extra yards, drops the ball and it's a fumble, and BC, all they got to do is kick the field goal. Because I had thought Hamilton's going to go down and they're going to score and they're going to do that. Is this the play right here?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Sometimes you just got to know when to go down. But somebody said you can't take the dog out of somebody, and as a receiver, you're always trying to fight for extra yards. And sometimes that's what happens. Yeah, that was unfortunate. And I'm like, is that? I was hoping that that's not the game. To me, Trevor Harris, 7-1. You're doing everything your team has asked you to do, but I found that the Vernon Adams and the Bo Levi Mitchell, sometimes they've had to put the team on their shoulders in certain games and will them to wins. And Trevor has had a pretty good complete and supporting cast around him for most games, not all.
It's been a bit of a rotating cast.
Have had a bit of a rotating cast, but with good depth and consistency and, a really good defense. Because at times, Hamilton's defense has been nowhere to be found. And the Stampeders, sometimes VA is doing it. So I'm going to stick with my Vernon Adams Jr. as my pick. So if you're a Bo Levi, and it's no disrespect for Trevor and what he's done.
Oh, no.
Because if it wasn't for a bit of a kooky, smoky Saturday, the Riders could be 8-0.
Exactly.
And maybe he's just the runaway MOP candidate after 8 games. But it just seems, as far as most outstanding player, there's times where those two have had to will their teams to victory, and they've been able to do it. And you saw this. Without Vernon Adams in the lineup, Calgary they're the Edmonton Elks minus Trey Ford at quarterback. They're not even in the conversation.
Yeah. So the way I'm hearing you explain it is VA and Bo Levi as individuals, which it's an individual award, have done the most, whereas Trevor has done the most as a cog in a machine, so to speak.
Yeah, and it's not to say that we're not taken away from, but if you had to pick the most outstanding player, not team guy, player. This is individual. This is selfish.
Yeah.
It's one of those two. Because remember, last year at this time, Bo Levi was not in this conversation.
No.
Bo Levi was benched, and then he was back in, and Bo Levi needs to retire, and he's washed up, and him and Scott Milanovich don't get along. So to see in the past year just how he's kind of reinvented himself in the CFL, going through 3 and 4 reads, he's more than a gunslinger now, and that's what makes him so dangerous. That's the part that Vernon Adams, if he ever gets to, that sometimes in the happy feed or the bad interception, which at times cost him, but it didn't cost him on the weekend. But Colson, I don't know about you, but after seeing Edmonton and how scrappy they were, and then the Lions, and then the Stamps, I'm like, oh, I guess the West Division is not dead in the CFL. Nope. The Riders may not end up at 17-1. I'm just saying that other teams may have something to say about it.
And you didn't even mention
some good football
Winnipeg
this weekend.
Blue Bombers, who everyone still fears maybe isn't the right word, but is still cautious about.
Just because they're 4-4 does not mean they've been hit by injuries.
They have.
You know who's playing well for the Bombers? Jareth Stearns, former Saskatchewan Roughrider, was a little inconsistent in his time in Riderville. It's like Tevin Jones for the Stamps.
Literally.
Tevin Jones. One of the most frustrating Saskatchewan Roughriders of a few years ago. Tevin Jones would make the incredible catch that nobody makes. He had 2 touchdowns for the Stamps on Saturday.
Yep.
And then in the fourth quarter, to keep a drive alive on 2nd down, he had the yardage for a 1st down. He easily drops a 6-yard pass. The drive is over. And I think they had to kick, and then they end up missing that field goal. They do come back and win. But Tevin Jones, in a nutshell, so frustrating.
Yep. And I was watching part of that game, and I saw Tevin Jones go and score. And then I saw, I'm forgetting the other player's name now, who you just said, on Winnipeg.
Jareth Stearns.
Yes, Stearns. I saw him go and score, and I'm like, yeah, we had those guys. Oh, well.
Yeah.
It used to be we would get quarterbacks, and then they'd go somewhere else and do really well. Now we're getting receivers, and they're doing pretty good here and then going somewhere else.
I mean, look at Jake Herslow from the Argonaut game on Saturday. Oh, God. First, that Toronto-Ottawa game. So he's going viral for hurdling that guy, which is nuts. But last week we said on the show, we even asked Darian, because Darian's smart. He knows football. What do you expect out of Toronto and Ottawa? Oh, geez, I don't know. Because we had the same thing. You have no idea. These are 2 of the worst teams in the CFL. And then they just put on an absolute shootout. And then Ryan Dinwiddie after the game said, what did he say? There's passengers? Or there's
I think that's the
pedestrians? Passengers that were scared to play?
That's going to be an interesting locker room.
Remember the last time he went off in his post-game press conference, and I tried to relate it back to the Sportscage staff, that if Ryan Dinwiddie said this about our show staff, who would he be talking about? It's funny who's listening. People that say they don't listen, it's funny who's listening, because when they hear that stuff, when they send you a private message like, hey, I heard that, I don't necessarily know that maybe you should be bringing that stuff up on the air. I'm like, oh, I don't know. I thought it was funny to be called, trust me, you go to work day in, day out, some days you're going to be a passenger. Apparently, on a Ryan Dinwiddie coach team, last Saturday was not the day to be having a passenger day, because I think Toronto, they had a chance to win. That's a lot of false confidence, though, isn't it, Colson, for Ottawa? Like, you beat up the Argonauts.
Yeah. Like, well, what are the standings? I had just had it pulled up here.
Riders are 7-1, Stamps are 6-3, Bombers are 4-4, Lions are 4-5, Elks are 2-6, and that Elks team is getting better. Alouettes 5-4, Ticats 6-3, Alouettes 5-4, Red Blacks 3-6, and the Argos 2-7.
Yeah, like it was literally the battle of who gets to be last in the East. Like, you're not winning any awards for that game. Yeah, it was a great game, part of a great weekend, but
the crazy thing is how it's worked out. One of these teams will make the playoffs and probably going to end up in the Grey Cup, and then somehow they come along and they win. It's going to be a very interesting week 11 in the CFL. Thursday, Ottawa at Winnipeg. Friday, Toronto at Edmonton. Saturday, doubleheader, Hamilton at Saskatchewan, Montreal at BC. And we're playing SaskTel Pick the Score. First name, last name, who wins on Saturday and what's the score? 306-936-6262. You can win tickets to the Labor Day Classic here in a couple of weeks and a $200 SaskTel gift card. Best of luck when you give your prediction. All right, it's time to take a break. When we come back, Dustin Forbes, the play-by-play voice of the Lethbridge Hurricanes, will join us. The Western Hockey League has been turned upside down with this NCAA thing and players leaving, going after NIL money, and you can't blame them. But the league will never, ever be the same. And with training camp starting in a couple of weeks, it's going to be a whole new dub, as the kids call it. Dustin will join us to chat on the Western Pizza Guest Hotline. Let's take our final break. This is the Sports Cage on the home of local sports in Saskatchewan, 620 CKRM.
Rider Nation lives on 620 CKRM. I'm Dave Thomas, voice of the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Saturday is game day as the Riders take on the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Countdown to kickoff with Justin Dunk and Tegan Whitco's at 10. The pregame show's at 12. And kickoff with Luke Mullender and I is at 1. Saskatchewan Roughrider football on the Cooperators Rider Broadcast Network is brought to you by Saskatchewan Roughrider Foundation, UFA, and Croft Electric. Stream every moment of Rider football at sportscage.com.
If you have a generator, you know it's there for emergencies. But when was the last time it was serviced? Has it ever been serviced? Make sure your generator is ready when you need it most. At Shorty Generators, they service all generators, industrial, commercial, or residential. They know generators inside and out, so you don't have to. Their expert technicians ensure your equipment stays in top shape. Any generator, any size, anytime. Shorty can handle it. ShortyGenerators.ca.
The ball is snapped. He scans the field. He's going deep. What a play! Rider fans, make your own great play by going to riders5050.ca. You can now buy tickets for every Rider game, home or away. You can also sign up for the 50-50 Club and never miss a draw, including the weekly loyalty and early bird prizes. All proceeds support amateur football in Saskatchewan, equipping the heartland, and just maybe score a big win. Get your tickets today at riders5050.ca and go Riders! Riders 50-50 is presented by ISC.
Hey, let's hit up Pump Jack's Cathedral.
Pump? You talking about my basketball shoes?
No, Pump Jack's Cathedral.
Who?
Pump Jack's Cathedral Saloon and Steakhouse. They're open now. They've got a large selection of local draft and food and drink specials. Kids are allowed until 8. There's live entertainment every weekend.
Let's go. I'm pumped.
On the corner of Albert and 13th, Pump Jack's Cathedral Saloon and Steakhouse. Come early, stay late. The place where friends meet.
Attention! The pre-owned summer sell down is on now at Capital GMC, your GM certified pre-owned destination. Demand is hot and we've got the best certified pre-owned Buicks, GMCs, and Cadillacs in town. Fully backed with a 150 plus point inspection and roadside assistance. Get big trade-in dollars for your current vehicle or just sell us your ride because we need inventory. Rates as low as 4.99% for up to 60 months on select certified pre-owned vehicles. Come to Capital GMC at Rochdale and Pasqua in Regina, where we go the extra mile and so do our vehicles.
We are 620 CKRM Regina, a Harvard media station.
It's 4 o'clock. Good afternoon. I'm Corey Atkinson from the SaskToday.ca newsroom with your 620 CKRM News. Regina police are looking for information after an early morning shooting sent an 11-year-old girl to hospital with serious injuries. Officers responded to the 1000 block of Edgar Street shortly after 2 a.m. and found the child inside a home with a gunshot wound. EMS took her to hospital. Police say several shots were fired from outside the residence. They don't believe there's any risk to the wider public. Anyone with video from the area in the past 24 hours is asked to call police or Crime Stoppers. The Saskatchewan Court of Appeal says a legal challenge to the province's school pronoun law can proceed. The law, introduced in 2023, requires parental consent for students under 16 to change their names or pronouns at school. Lawyers for LGBTQ plus group UR Pride argue the measure causes irreparable harm to gender-diverse youth. The government said its use of the notwithstanding clause should block the case, but the court ruled a judge can still consider whether the law limits charter rights while granting part of the government's appeal. A Saskatchewan man remains in critical but stable condition after being bitten by a rattlesnake in Texas while playing golf. Daniel Fair, who lives in Texas for his job, was bitten on his left ankle by a rattlesnake on July 27th. His wife Stephanie, who lives in Swift Current, says many of Daniel's organs have stabilized, but questions remain over a possible brain injury. Fair lacked insurance in the United States, and a GoFundMe has been created for the Fair family to help with Daniel's medical expenses and his transportation back to Saskatchewan. WestJet says some personal data, including information about travel documents, such as passports, was stolen in a cyber attack earlier this year, but credit and debit card numbers as well as user passwords were not compromised.
WestJet says the personal information taken varies from person to person, but may include name, birthday, email address, mailing address, phone number, and recent travel booking history, including travel booking numbers. It could also include information about travel documents, such as passports or other government-issued identification. WestJet says it identified suspicious activity on its systems on June 13th. It's offering affected customers identity theft and monitoring free of charge for 24 months. Michelle Zedekian, The Canadian Press.
And it's not yet clear whether Canada has been invited to a meeting about the Russia-Ukraine war being hosted by Germany this week. Prime Minister Mark Carney's office and the Office of Foreign Affairs Minister Anita Anand have not responded to questions about whether Canada has been asked to take part. German Chancellor Friedrich Merz has invited Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, U.S. President Donald Trump, and the leaders of the European Commission, NATO, and 5 European countries to Wednesday's meeting. International leaders are worried that Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin will agree during their meeting on Friday to terms that include swaps of Ukrainian territory. That was your 620 CKRM News. Read more stories from around your community and around the province at sasktoday.ca and 620ckrm.com. Your weather is next.
Hey, let's hit up Pump Jack's Cathedral.
Pump? You talking about my basketball shoes?
No, Pump Jack's Cathedral.
Who?
Pump Jack's Cathedral Saloon and Steakhouse. They're open now. They've got a large selection of local draft and food and drink specials. Kids are allowed until 8. There's live entertainment every weekend.
Let's go. I'm pumped. On the corner of Albert and 13th, Pump Jack's Cathedral Saloon and Steakhouse. Come early, stay late. The place where friends meet.
Let's get out on the water. Now is the best time of year to buy a boat or pontoon at Kevin's Marine. Cast a line in a Lund fishing boat. Take the family out on a Four Winds boat. Or head out on a pontoon by Harris or Crest. Powered by Mercury Motors at the lowest prices of the year. There are manufacturer's rebates, dealer discounts, and low payment financing on a great selection of boats and pontoons. Plus Shoremaster aluminum docks and lifts. Kevin's Marine in Fort Capel. Enjoy your summer. Get out on the water. Stop by or shop online at kevinsmarine.com.
620 CKRM Precision Weather Forecast is brought to you by Linex Regina. Serious protection, killer looks, 1865 McCarra Street. Environment Canada has issued a severe thunderstorm watch. Cloudy tonight, showers with a risk of a thunderstorm and a low of 9. Tomorrow, sunny and 24. Wednesday, sunny, even warmer, a high of 30. Thursday, sunny at 24. And for Friday, sunshine and a high of 23. Right now, it's mostly cloudy and 22 in downtown Regina.
When you want the best for your truck, you want Line-X. Your truck has withstood the harshest elements Saskatchewan has thrown at it. Rocks, gravel, rain, sleet, and snow, and left with no chips, no rust. Line-X protective coating keeps your truck's bed liners, rocker panels, and bumpers looking like brand new. Don't settle for Brand X. Go with Line-X. It's serious protection. Come see why everybody loves taking their truck to Line-X Regina for their rocker panels, bumpers, and more. Line-X. Make your truck complete. 1865 McCarra Street.
Hee-haw! It's the Ram Rodeo at Crestview Chrysler. That's right, folks. We got Ram trucks coming out the wazoo. So we're wrangling prices down with discounts of up to 18,200 buckaroos. Can you believe it? Ram Bighorns going for only $65 and change plus tax, or get 0% financing over 72 months on most models. We also have an impressive selection of cars and SUVs. But the Ram Rodeo's on right now at Crestview Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Regina.
Broadcasting from Century Studios in downtown Regina, Harvard Media presents The Sports Cage, where Saskatchewan comes to talk local sports. Brought to you by Kellen Solar, installing solar in residential and commercial buildings for 35 years. Local and trusted. Kellen Solar. Visit kellensolar.com. Be part of the show. Call 1-866-767-0620 or text 306-936-6262. The Sports Cage. Streaming at sportscage.com, our YouTube channel, and on the radio at 620 CKRM.
For number 2 of the show on this Monday afternoon, still to come, a special double talk with Darian Durant with special guest Charleston Hughes. One of the best quarterbacks to play in the CFL in this modern era and one of the best defensive players to play in the CFL in this modern era. We'll do that just after 5 o'clock. Charleston was on summer vacation last week. He was at SeaWorld. So we're going to have to get an update to see how that went. I didn't see him on social media. He said he might try and ride Shamu. I didn't see anything. Doesn't mean it didn't happen. Maybe it just didn't get through into my algorithm. Coming up on the show tomorrow, retired NHL referee Tim Peel will join us. We've had him on before, million stories, great guy, been up to Sasky because he was in Chaser's wedding. He's also part of the Snipes and Stripes podcast with Jeremy Roanoke, so he'll be on the show tomorrow. It's Maz in for Barney. It's Monday, August 11th. And if you have kids, there's 3 weeks left in summer vacation. And if you're like my wife and I, we're scratching our heads, what do we do for another 3 weeks? Thank you, Steve Jobs, for inventing the iPad. Once again, every penny we've invested in these iPads coming through large. And to the people who made Minecraft, whoever you are, you too, you're doing God's work. You deserve some sort of honor. Whatever we pay for Minecraft, I don't know, do we pay for it? I don't really handle that. Somewhere along the way, you got to pay for something. They're busy being good kids playing Minecraft. Can't even get 2 words out of them. Dad, we're busy making stuff in that. I think the Minecraft movie was on TV at our house the other day. Jason Momoa's in it. Yeah, so if you're a parent too and you're trying to figure out what to do for the next 3 weeks with the kids because summer vacations may be over, but the school hasn't started, yeah, try to get them off pop. That's what we're trying to do. We're not drinking a couple of Pepsis every day. Time to go out on the Western Pizza guest hotline here and say hi to Dustin Forbes. So let's bring him back in on the show. He is the play-by-play voice for the Lethbridge Hurricanes. And the Western Hockey League will look incredibly different this year because last year when the NCAA said it's okay that players from the Western Hockey League can play in the NCAA, and I was like, ooh, what will this do? And what about NIL money? People are like, no, it'll be a slow trickle. And then the thing happened. Now the exodus has started with none other than Gavin McKenna, who's expected to be the first pick overall in the NHL entry draft this upcoming season. Dustin joins us. Dustin, how are you? Because Medicine Hat is not far from Lethbridge, and that Tigers team, their roster decimated between Gavin McKenna, Ryder Ritchie, and Caden Lindstrom, no longer part of the program. Wow.
Yeah, it's been quite the summer, unlike any other quite frankly, around the Western Hockey League with players committing to the NCAA and leaving earlier than their eligibility would expect you to see them leave. But it's the new landscape that we are dealt with. And so we'll see how it all unfolds. Obviously, at first blush, you're concerned because the Western League's lost a lot of good players. And you mentioned the to-be first overall pick, probably the to-be second overall pick, too, and Keaton Verhoff of the Victoria Royals going to the University of North Dakota. So there are some certainly significant names leaving the league, but as we see every year when those players leave, be it at 18 or 19 or 20 to go on and play pro, there's always players that come up through the systems across the league that make a name for themselves and become household names in short order. So we might have to see that sooner than maybe expected.
But if you're Willie Desjardins, now I get it. You're a Lethbridge Hurricanes guy, and your checks say Lethbridge Hurricanes on it. But if you're Willie Desjardins, you have to kind of feel for the Medicine Hat Tigers. It's not that you just lost one player, and maybe you lose 3 top-tier talents. You were just in the Memorial Cup final last year, and you lost. And you think, well, we've got a stacked roster. We're going to try and run this thing back. The simple question, can you recover from something like this? I said, there's opportunities for others, but those are 3 special elite talents.
Yeah, it is. And you're right. I'm paid by the Hurricanes and I'm the voice of the Hurricanes. But obviously you pay attention to the league and you have a lot of respect for the people around the league. And Willie's one of those people, and the Tigers organization for that matter, too. It's tough to see. I think from a Medicine Hat perspective, it definitely isn't favorable for sure. I mean, you're talking about 3 really good players, 3 players that are elite players at our level, 2 that are, one's a top 4 pick, one will be probably a number 1 pick, and another that's a second round pick. So some significant hit in terms of their, run it back mentality. But every team has been affected by it for the most part. I mean, we just saw over the weekend Ollie Josephson from the Red Deer Rebels, their captain and leading scorer from last year, who's a Seattle Kraken draft pick commit to go play, I think, at UND as well, University of North Dakota. And you talk about being the team in the East that's been hit the hardest. Victoria Royals in the West, maybe the hardest hit, with Cole Reshny, who was a first-round pick of the Calgary Flames, committing to go NCAA. Mentioned Keaton Verhoff before, who is only going into his 17-year-old season and set records as a 16-year-old defenseman in our league last year. So it is concerning, I would say, from like a broadcaster's perspective. I'm sure from a fan's perspective, and I would imagine that the people who make a lot more money and are a lot smarter than me, having a seat at the governor's table for the Western Hockey League, are wondering where the league goes from here. But like I said before, you're going to see younger talent in the league. You think about Maddox Schultz, who can play up to, I think, 34 games this season in Regina. Liam Pugh there as well, and some other good players around the league that were taken in the first round. And it's going to be a recalibration, right? I mean, I know Craig Button had kind of mentioned it on a podcast late last week about how many of these players come back to the Western Hockey
I saw
League,
that.
because they can go.
I saw that.
And maybe they don't play a lot. Maybe they struggle to produce. Maybe the game aspect doesn't favor them with playing only 34, 36 games and having to attend school all week leading up to the game. So there's a lot of unknowns, right? What we do know is that there's been a lot of players that have left the league. Where we go from here, it's going to take some time to recalibrate. Where does the league go? Does it become a younger league? We'll see.
I think so.
And the other thing too is, and I know this from a Lethbridge perspective, and I would have to go through and look at all of the other teams, but Lethbridge has been impacted because Jackson Unger is committed to go to Colorado College. Miguel Marcus is committed to go to Maine University. So those are 2 pieces that would be eligible to play in our league this coming season. But with the NCAA being open, Lethbridge has been able to sign their first round pick in this past year's U.S. priority draft and last year's U.S. priority draft in Cash Whitmore this year. And one of the all-name teams, Enzo Di Domenicantaneo, from last year, if you say that 10 times fast. So will we see an influx of U.S.-born players that would usually go play USHL or try and go for the U.S. national development team come here because they can still go to NCAA when their junior career or major junior career runs out or before? So I think it's going to take a couple of years for us to see how it actually all unfolds. But I would say it's definitely concerning when you see the amount of really good players leave our league. And I don't know if the numbers are accurate, but I was kind of doing a count around 80 commitments. And roughly 30 to 35 of those guys that could play in the league this year, either at a 20 or 19-year-old age, a couple 18s and one 17 with Verhoff. So there's a lot of unknowns. So it's hard to put together a full analysis of what happens moving forward, but I would say it's concerning.
Dustin Forbes, the voice of the Lethbridge Hurricanes, is joining us. We're talking about the Western Hockey League and the NCAA. When this first came up, and I remember on the show that day with Barney, we're talking about, oh, Gavin McKenna's going to go. No, he's not. Well, money. Well, they can't get money. And I said, the NCAA for decades has made a business out of getting guys that shouldn't be getting money for playing. And now that NIL, and if that number is true, it's $700,000 for him to go to Penn State and all that. Can you imagine what Maddox Schultz's agents and parents, the numbers that are probably coming across their emails and their cell phones at this point? And he's not even he hasn't played a game in the Western Hockey League yet, but could you imagine that? And I said, don't worry, they'll find a way to get the parents the money. The average salary in the American Hockey League is, this between 60 and 70,000 US, maybe. If you can get some life-changing money up front, because there are no guarantees even if you get drafted. Are a lot of kids looking at this from, just your opinion, or maybe a hockey standpoint, but maybe a little financial stability standpoint to pay back mom and dad and help the family? Because it's sooner or later, the parents have made a huge commitment to get them to this point. And if there's a way to kind of say, hey, listen, we can get it here, because nothing's guaranteed beyond getting a chance to play.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that there's a factor to that. I do think that there's probably it's a little bit of column A and a little bit of column B. Put yourself in a pair of shoes at 18, and if you were offered a couple $100,000 or in some cases significantly more in Gavin McKenna's reported amount too, that's hard to say no to. Like I'm 34 years old. If I was offered that type of money, it would be really hard for me to say no. So, and you're right, there are no guarantees. The one thing I do know that there is a guarantee is that you can't sign an NHL contract while you're playing NCAA, and you can in the Western Hockey League. So you look at some of the players that have left. I would say you have the top end talent like the Reshnies and the McKennas and the Verhoffs. But you've also got some middle round picks. I mentioned Marcus. He's a 3rd round pick of the Nashville Predators. Tomas Mercic from the Prince Albert Raiders, a 4th round pick of the St. Louis Blues. So those types of guys that maybe they sign, maybe they don't sign an NHL contract. And so you're looking at, okay, here's an amount of money, whatever that is, guaranteed to go and play versus hoping that I get an NHL contract. But the juxtaposition to that is now you've got, in those two instances, 19-year-olds who are going to play against men who have less games to impact the game. And it's going to be tough to find ice time. And if you do get the ice time, are you going to be able to produce? Those are all the questions that if you're a player, if you're a player's family, and if you're a player agent, you have to put on the pro versus con list before making your decision, I would think. Now, money speaks and money talks. AC/DC sang it best in the 80s, money talks. And if you come to the table with enough money, it's an easy decision. But I do think that eventually, let's see where the league is at come Christmas time. And then let's see where the league is at come April when the playoffs actually get going, and see if that turns into a reality, how many of those players come back to the Western Hockey League. I think of a guy like Adam Tambolini years ago with the Calgary Hitmen, who went and played NCAA and then decommitted and came back and played in Calgary with the Hitmen. And I think he helped them win a championship, or at least went to a WHL final, and was a really good player at this level. So that's one instance where a guy went NCAA and came back. Will we see that happen again? I wouldn't be surprised. And I know, like I mentioned before, Craig Button, who knows a lot more people in hockey than I do and is probably more piped in than I am, suggested that last week. So I wouldn't be surprised if that does come to fruition. But how many of those 35 guys, if you will, want to round up, that could play in our league this year will come back? It's a wait and see game.
I don't know. I've seen some of those sorority videos on TikTok over the past 7 days or whatever. That looks. I can catch your eye. All right, we have 30 seconds left. Dustin Forbes. There is a new bench boss in Lethbridge. His name is Matt Anholt. Why do you like Matt Anholt as the new head coach of the Lethbridge Hurricanes?
Well, first and foremost, I've worked with Matt now for 7-8 years, and it goes back even further when he was still playing, when he played NCAA at Alaska Fairbanks. And I think he's perfect now for the job. And I know in Lethbridge there's the conversation about, well, he's the general manager's son because he's Peter Anholt's kid and Pete's the GM. But from a guy that I see is the first in the rink and the last to leave the rink, and is one of the hardest working guys I've worked with, it's contagious. And I think for him, now is the time. And if it wasn't going to be here, it was going to be somewhere else. And I know that for certain. So give him the opportunity and run with it. He's younger, or he's older than Pete was when Pete was named the head coach in Prince Albert. So he's got some work to do to catch up to Dad. And I'll say this before I go. Matt took over on an interim basis a couple of years ago when Brent Kissio was at the World Juniors. And I think he went like 4-2 in the 6 games when Brent was away. And Matt and Pete Anholt are at the winningest father-son tandem in WHL history for coaching wins, surpassing Brent and Kelly Kissio. So, but a lot of those are Pete's wins. So Matt's got to start to pull up his, yeah.
All right, it's Dustin Forbes, voice of the Lethbridge Hurricanes. We always appreciate your time. Let's do this again once the season gets rolling, and we'll see where this conversation has taken us, see where some of the maybe the knowledge plays out. All right, time to take a break on the Sports Cage. It's a quick break. When we come back, the Rider Coaches Show. Jordan Linnen, defensive assistant, will join us. This Saskatchewan Roughrider defense, you can't run on them. They're number 1 in the CFL. We'll ask him about that next. This is the home of local sports in Saskatchewan, 620 CKRM.
Rider Nation lives on 620 CKRM. I'm Dave Thomas, voice of the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Saturday is game day as the Riders take on the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Countdown to kickoff with Justin Dunk and Tegan Whitco's at 10. The pregame show's at 12. And kickoff with Luke Mullender and I is at 1. Saskatchewan Roughrider football on the Cooperators Rider Broadcast Network is brought to you by Salford Equipment, Western Ag Professional Agronomy, and the Saskatchewan NDP Caucus. Stream every moment of Rider football at sportscage.com.
To get the job done right, you need the right machine for the job. For better hay, the right machine is the 1316S Heston Disc Mower Conditioner by Massey Ferguson. The 1316S Heston is the rugged, high-capacity mower designed for reliable performance, with a 16-foot working width. The 1316S Heston also has the quick change tool, making changing blades easier, getting you back to cutting hay quickly. See the Heston by Massey Ferguson at Nick's Service in Emerald Park, nickservice.com.
Employee pricing has been extended at Capital GMC.
Capital GMC!
What does it all mean?
You pay what we pay.
For limited time, get employee pricing on any new GM vehicle in stock. This special offer is exclusively available at Capital GMC. Or check out our certified pre-owned inventory. They all come with 30-day exchange privilege, manufacturer's warranty, and more. Don't miss your last chance at employee pricing. Now available on any new vehicle. Only at Capital GMC.
What's going on in the markets? When is the right time to invest? What should you do with your money today? When Linda had questions, she talked to Brian Golly.
He makes you feel very at ease. He's always up for a visit with us, and yeah, we're always happy to see him and get some advice from him.
You don't have to plan your financial future alone. Call Brian Gawley of Smart Investing Solutions. 306-546-2533.
We would recommend Brian anytime, and we would recommend him to anybody.
Looking for the best gear at the best price? Extreme Hockey and Sport just raised the bar. Now, with a price match guarantee, find the same product anywhere else, show the price, and they'll match it. The gear you need, the service you trust, and the price you want. Why settle for anything less? Get the local loyalty and the price match guarantee only at Extreme Hockey. Any budget, expert fit. Your local sit and fit hockey shop. Extreme Hockey and Sport, 1425 McIntyre Street, Regina's hockey shop.
SEIU West members are
Medical Equipment Coordinator,
Combined Laboratory and X-ray Technologist,
Orderly, Biomedical Engineering Technologist,
File Clerk,
MRI Technologist,
Carpenter,
Pharmacy Technician, Cardiology Technologist,
Staff Scheduler,
Information Technology Analyst.
the backbone of your public health care system. Learn more at seius.ca.
Double R Auctioneering is conducting an online auction for Sylvia in the estate of Mel Fleischacker of Pasqua Lake Road. This auction includes one owner equipment Bobcat, Kubota utility tractor, Polaris side-by-sides, Honda CR-V, welders, plasma cutter, metal shear and brake, drill mill, hand tools, metal stock, acetylene torches, metal lathes, toolboxes, electrical and plumbing supplies, yard and garden equipment, and so much more. The sale is on now and closes Monday, August 18th, starting at 10 a.m. Check it out, register, bid online at rauctions.net. That's rauctions.net.
It's time for the Sportscage Riders Coaches Show for the Saskatchewan Roughrider Foundation. Get your 50-50 tickets now for all Rider home and away games. Riders5050.ca and Steelcraft Doors Regina, made in Western Canada for Western Canadians.
We do the Coaches Show on Monday afternoons. It's Maz here, joined by defensive assistant Jordan Linnen of the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Jordan, last week was a bye week for you. Now, when it comes to being one of the coaches, do you get to scatter and go somewhere exotic on vacation, or is it right back to work at Mosaic trying to dial up the next great defensive scheme?
Fortunately for us, Coach Mesa does a great job of allowing us to kind of have that mental break like the players. So most of us get out of here and go back to our hometowns or go back to be spending some time with family. So I was one of those guys fortunate enough to get away. Vancouver's home for me, so I was back in Vancouver for the bye week and spent some time with the family and the babies.
Did you get a chance to watch any of the games over the weekend? I would have thought differently of the West Division had Edmonton lost and BC lost, and we knew someone was going to win, Calgary and Edmonton. It looks like there's a little bit of dog with a little bit of fight in the West. The Rider, we may not go 17-1. I'd like us to, but I don't know. What did you think of the games on the weekend?
Yeah, I mean, it's, ultimately, I think all of us as coaches, and I'm sure the players as well, we're all fans of this league. So, I think innately you're going to be tuned in, even if it's for half of a game. So we were definitely watching. I was watching. And like you said, I think the biggest thing with the West is you know that no one in the West is ever out of it, and playing Western opponents, you have to run the gauntlet to be able to get to a 15-2 or a 17-1 or whatever that may be. So, much like we expected, the West, put on a show. And honestly, I think all the games, as a whole, even the game with Ottawa and Toronto, were electric and fun to watch as a fan of football. So definitely was a good week for the CFL.
When you get a 46-42 game final score, no matter who's playing, defensively, when you're watching the film, is that an extended session the day after? Because there's probably a few things in there that may need correcting.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of both. I think you either have the mindset of, hey, we got a lot of corrections and we're going to get in here and break this down and figure out where we can be better. And obviously with a score like that, there's lots of places to be better. But I think sometimes too, some coaches will look at it and go, you know what? This is an aberration. Let's just flush this and move on. And, that's a lot of clips to try and work through. So, that's probably a 60, 65 plus snap game for the defensive players on either side. So, you try to get through it as best you can and make the corrections on the big issues. But I think more often than not, you're like, all right, let's just move on and forget this one and learn from it.
A lot of us sit in staff meetings at work and we have limited attention spans. In your experience, what's the maximum amount of clips you can show a group when we're making corrections before you lose them? Is it under 10? Is it 10 to 15? What's the sweet spot there for the message getting through without it getting lost?
I think it varies by position group. Each position group is a little different. For me, I work with the DBs primarily, and I think with the DB group, I think our capacity is about 25 clips, and then it's all right. Now it's Charlie Brown in the background, womp. So we try to be concise with that, but I think in the best ways, I think Coach Mace and our defensive staff as a whole does a good job of just making sure we give you the meat and potatoes, and then any additional corrections we can get with you one-on-one or small group meetings. But our guys do a good job too. They're such willing to learn type players across all positions and all position groups that they're going to watch the whole game regardless if we watch it with them or not. So sometimes we'll sit in there, and as we're going through things and making corrections, we might skip 2 or 3 clips talking about something or joking about something, but we usually get through the whole game as a whole. And then from there, if there's more specific things that need attention to detail, we touch on those as well.
The Riders are 7-1, but the 7th win, I'm going to say, even us crazed fans in Rider Nation, we thought if we played well in all 3 phases, we could go to Montreal and win. We weren't talking a 20-plus point blowout out of the Alouettes. The defense is really playing well. Number 8 in the pass, but number 1 against the run. Why has it been so hard for opponents to run on this team this year?
I mean, again, I think it's a testament to Coach Mace and his philosophy, but also, across, again, all position groups on the defensive side of the ball. We all take a bit of onus in that, right? I think we all believe that we can affect the run game or the run defense. I know specifically on the back end as DBs, we look at it as an opportunity to be in the run fits, to be able to affect the game, because more often than not, traditionally and fundamentally, you're not accounted for, right? It's, the front 7, it's the D-line, it's the linebackers. But in our philosophy and in Coach Bell's philosophy and Coach Mace's philosophy, it's having our DBs show up in the run game when and if needed, but also in situations where an opportunity presents itself. Our guys are willing tacklers, which is a big part of it, and our guys are more than eager to make a big play that can potentially create a turnover or turn the tide, right? We want to be able to affect the game positively. And for us, obviously, in the back end, it hasn't been, great sometimes in the past game. So for us, it's, extra plays or extra reps that we get to be in the run fits and affect the game positively that way. So that's kind of how we've been able to show up, and why I think our defensive, prowess, at least when it comes to the run game, has been as good as it's been this year.
You may agree, you not. I think Marcus Sayles is playing some of the best football of his career these past 5 games. He is everywhere, and he's got it on lockdown. Is that just me seeing things, or is that how you're seeing it as well?
No, absolutely. I think, we laugh because, a year ago or a year and a half ago, he was cast away by BC and thought to be too old or on the back end of his career. I think Sayles brings a completely different dynamic to our secondary and really our team. From a leadership standpoint, from a want to standpoint, from a professionalism standpoint, all of those things. But, to talk about what you said, like, I think you're seeing glimpses of greatness again from Sayles. I think to the average eye, to the fans in Rider Nation, they see what he's doing. He's going to be the first one to tell you, just like we would be the first ones to tell you, there's still so many plays out there that he's leaving out there. But in saying that, that's again him being held to a high standard. As far as the league itself, as far as his position across the league, I don't think there's many players better than him at his position in the league, period. That being said, we're always going to keep pushing him and trying to see if we can get more. And I think he's pushing himself day in and day out to get more out of his ability and what he sees and what he's doing. So, I think he's definitely a great player, but I think he's striving to be even better than that on this back half of the season.
The Roland Milligan effect, he's the best defensive player in the CFL, and we saw that last year. But spilling over into this year, what does that do to everybody else on the defense? When Zero's out there, because it does. He's game planned around, which means it's like the Bombers and Willie Jefferson. You have to game plan around it. You got to know where Milligan is. How have you guys been able to take advantage of that as a defense, knowing that, well, Milligan's going to draw some attention.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we all know, and I think it's not a secret now league wide that, Zero is a special player. Obviously, he's recognized as such as being the defensive player of the year. But I think, like you said, the game planning component from the opposition is obvious and is notable. So, we work concepts, we work coverages, we work scheme to create opportunities, right? It's easy to say, well, they're just not going to throw at him. Well, yeah, I mean, that's obvious and that's good coaching on a basic level. But, for us, our jobs as coaches is to put them in positions to succeed and to, more or less manufacture opportunities for him. And I think we're doing that. We're going to continue to do that. We still feel like we can get him some more opportunities, some more chances to take, risks, calculated risks, and make plays to get back to, the stats that give him the credibility of who he is. In our building, and I'm sure even league wide, he's still the best player or one of the best defensive players in this league far and away. But, obviously hasn't had as many opportunities or maybe hasn't made the splash plays that everyone was used to making because of last year. So for us, what we try to do is, counteract the scheme that the opponent gives us by creating and manufacturing ways to get him into certain things that will give him a chance to make a play on the ball.
The next 4 games, Bo Levi Mitchell, Vernon Adams Jr., and Zach Collaros. Lord willing, he's healthy. This is going to be a tough 4-game stretch. And as far as Mitchell and Vernon Adams Jr. go, they're halfway through the season. Who's the MOP? Those are the names that are coming up. And they're both great, but for different reasons. Let's start with Bo Levi this weekend and the Hamilton Ticats. Bo's a gunslinger, was a gunslinger, but now he's going through 4 reads. It's not just the long ball. You've got to adjust to the new Bo. He's still got old Bo in him, but this new Bo, he poses, is it more problems or more complex problems than maybe a one-dimensional Bo of 5 years ago?
Yeah, I think honestly, most, if not all, especially defensive coaches that have to scheme him up every week will tell you, I think Bo is playing the best football of his career. And that's a lot to be said about a guy that was as dangerous as he was in Calgary. I think Bo is seeing the game at, a great level or high level. I think he's, dealing as far as getting the ball to his guys and his playmakers and giving them a chance to, be guys for him. And I think that he understands too, like, there's a little bit of, we keep joking here about, there's a little bit of, don't give a crap attitude from Bo, and in a good way. Like, I'm just going to cut it loose and whatever happens is whatever happens. I'm still going to be calculated. I'm still going to go through my reads. Like you said, be a little bit more consistent with going through the full progression than maybe he was early in his career. But I think Bo is at a point now where he feels confident in his ability, confident in the system. He has the confidence of that coaching staff, which I think was a huge, turning point for him coming off of last year. And he's got playmakers around him, man. That's a great receiving core with a lot of really good, athletes and playmakers. So I think it's a little easier to cut it loose when you have guys and confidence that you can put the ball in the air and they're going to make a play for you. So yeah, I mean, hats off to Bo. He's a great, leader, great quarterback, but I think we're getting the best version of Bo. And as a fan, that's what you want to see.
You mentioned the receivers of the Hamilton Ticats. Kenny Lawler has been kept in check pretty much for the past 3 games. You're never going to shut him down completely, but he hasn't gone off. He's had some good games against the Riders in the past when he's been a Bomber, when he's been an Elk. How do you, maybe it's not a simple answer. How do you game plan against an elite talent like a Kenny Lawler? Is it more than one guy on him? Is it special zone? Like, what do you got to do to try and contain him so he doesn't blow the game open?
I mean, like you said, it's a complex answer, but I think more than anything, I had the, privilege of coaching him in Edmonton for 2 years, and I know Kenny really well. I think one thing about him that's kind of underrated, yeah, obviously you see the spectacular catches and all the, yards and touchdowns he's had this year and even in years past. But I think one thing that goes underrated is his work rate or his relentless work ethic, both in practice and in game. And, so that's something that we tell our guys all the time. Like, you can't just think because maybe for 3 quarters he hasn't had a catch, that it's over for for Kenny. Kenny is going to be there when the game is on the line, when the chips are on the table. So for us and how we approach it, it's not going to be, hey, we only worry about Kenny Lawler. Like I said, they have a great receiving core. We're going to pay attention to everybody that's there, but we will make an emphasis, and we have made an emphasis on how we prepare, of knowing where he is pre-snap and just saying, okay, hey, this is these are the one or two guys that more often than not the ball's going their direction, or they're the play side of a call. So that's kind of how we combat that. We're focused on knowing where he is at all times, but we're not focused on just solely taking away Kenny Lawler. We want to be complete in terms of how we cover. We want to be complete in how we scheme. So we're also looking at the full picture, and the entire formation and personnel groupings and all of that.
It's the Rider Coaches Show with Jordan Linnen, brought to you by Steelcraft Doors and the Saskatchewan Roughrider Foundation. You signed first-round global draft pick Sylvain Hughes today. He's originally from Belgium, 6'4", 260, not a small guy. Played 5 years at Georgia Tech, had a free agent tryout. I believe it was with Carolina. How excited are you guys to get him to Mosaic and inside the building?
Man, I can tell you one thing is you're not going to miss him in the hallway. He's a pretty big cat. But again, we're excited. We're ecstatic to get him. Anytime you can get your first round draft pick in the global draft in the building, I think it makes you better. And a guy like that in a frame like that, he's going to help us instantly on special teams. So, we're excited to have him. I think it's awesome to get him here finally. I know there's been, communication back and forth throughout the last few weeks because he was, on the NFL circuit and trying to figure out if he would get another opportunity. But I think his attitude and his mindset, even just talking to him and passing over the course of the day, is, I want to come in and help this team. I understand you guys are in a great position in the league, but I'm here to, fulfill my end of being a draft pick for you guys, and you guys believing in my ability. So, that's what we're excited about. I think we're excited about, obviously, the intangibles, and, obviously he was productive in college, but now he's got a chance to come in and help us, in the back half of the season, where those guys are going to make a huge impact. Special teamers are going to be the ones that help us, position ourselves for where we want to be at the end of the year.
6'4", 260, playing special teams. Is he going to be a gunner on punt teams? Like, what's Kent Majuri going to have drawn up for this guy? I don't want to see that guy running down my side of the field. I'm getting out of the way. I'm not standing in for that. You got some 185-pound poor defensive back that's got to try and cover that. Sam Emilus went down. There's been some injuries, but the depth has been there. It's been the next man up. How important has it been that this is year 2 of the Corey Mace system, that there's consistency and continuity for players in all 3 phases of the ball, knowing what to do? Because last year everything was new, and I know BC's going through that, Edmonton's going through that, where if you're trying to learn a new system, that's one thing, but you're also trying to play fast, which at times you can't. How comforting has it been for you to see going, okay, we've been through this, we know, everybody knows the system, we trust in this? It's got to make the job a little easier at times, does it?
Most def. Yeah, I think this year's been a little bit of a sigh of relief, in the sense that, the relationships we've built over the last year, to a man and to a coach in the building, have allowed us to have the trust in each other and the belief in each other that no matter what happens, we have the right people in the room. We have the right people in the building already. Obviously you want to add a few pieces here and there, and you obviously want to make sure that you continue to have the depth, especially in the back half of the year. But I think right now where we're at as a team and as an organization, like, we have some really good players that aren't even playing yet. Some guys that are on practice squad, some guys that are maybe in backup roles, or guys that are nursing injuries, that we know when those guys get an opportunity, or when those guys come back from injury, we're even better than we are right now. And obviously, we've had some success with guys stepping up, and, hats off to our receiver room. That room is extremely deep, and there's guys in that room that haven't even had an opportunity yet, that will, given an opportunity, I would assume will be able to make the most of it. So, again, hats off to our personnel department, Jeremy O'Day and Kyle Carson, and then what they do in terms of making sure we have the right people, but also Coach Mace, man, he does a really good job of pushing these guys during the week and over the course of the season, to be able to say, hey, you're one stub toe away from being an integral part of what we're doing. And the other part of it too is, guys knowing that even when they're not playing, they're still loved on. We try to do our best to make sure every P squad guy is, feeling like they're a part of what we're doing, and, rewarding those guys for their efforts throughout the week, because that's like I said, those are the guys that at any given point could be the guys starting for us. So, year two's been a blessing in that regard. I mean, obviously we're still battling a ton of issues and injuries like a lot of teams are, but, again, we look around the room and we're going, if this guy's got to play or that guy's got to play, we're going to be all right.
I've always wondered, as a coach, being a Canadian, you're from Vancouver, so when the last Saskatchewan Pirate comes on at Rider games, you probably can't outwardly do it, but do you kind of sing along? Hi, Simon down the plane. It's part of Rider Nation. I mean, you can't not, but I mean, you don't have to answer this question. You can take the fifth, but are there times where you catch yourself getting into it too, like the fans?
100%. I think one thing you naturally do being here, if you're here long enough, is you become a part of what Rider Nation is. And I think that's one thing that fandom, even as a coach or probably even as a player, like you find yourself in those moments being like, yeah, I'm happy to be a part of this. You look around and, we're excited for this weekend to look around and just be like, yeah, this is home. This is us. We have all these people believing in what we do. And, there's things, the fourth quarter stretch and all those things, like those things have made me really appreciate where I work. So, definitely catch myself sometimes being a little more into it than I probably should be.
Well, if the TSN cameras ever catch Coach Mace coming up to be like, come on, what are you doing here? Jordan Linnen, thank you for this. Oh, and as far as the game on Saturday, I think at last check, a couple thousand tickets left. Good with decent weather could be a sellout at Mosaic on Saturday. And it's an early start too. As a coach, because you got to adjust your life. A 1 o'clock game as opposed to a 5 o'clock game. What do you like? Do you like getting the work done early in the day, or do you like waiting around till the 5 o'clocks in the afternoon?
I think the 5 o'clock games are perfect. Me personally, I'm not a 7 o'clock guy. I don't waiting all day. I think the anxiety starts to set in. But the 1 o'clock games are a little different. I do like being able to finish the game and still have a little bit of your day left. But, kind of routinely, it's like I'd rather be able to kind of get to the stadium, maybe watch a couple of, cut-ups or whatever, just kind of refresh my brain and put my game, my game mask on, my thought process into the game. But later in the day, that's kind of how that goes. But earlier in the day, it's like, hey, you get here and it's, you're getting out for warm-ups and then you're into the building and trying to keep your, heart rate down, and then you get in the box and it's go time. So, I think the 5 o'clock games are perfect, but I'm never going to say no to a 1 o'clock kickoff either.
Nice. Be home for dinner with a win, hopefully number 8 on the season. Jordan Linnen, thank you for doing this. We appreciate it. It's the Coaches Show. We do it every Monday. And the Saskatchewan Roughriders will take on the Hamilton Ticats on Saturday, which means with a 1 o'clock start, we're going to start our Rider Nation pregame show. We're going to be on the air at 10. Pre-game show noon, kickoff at 1 with Dave and Luke. And SaskTel pick the score. As always, we give you a chance to pick who's going to win between the Riders and the Ticats. All you need to do is give us your prediction at 306-936-6262. Along with the score, send us your first name and your last name. You have a chance to win tickets to the Labor Day Classic against the Bombers and a $200 SaskTel gift card. Time to take a break on the Sports Cage. When we come back, it was a bit of a crazy weekend in football for the field goal kickers. They were bombing them from all over the place in the CFL and down south in the NFL. This is the Sports Cage on the home of local sports in Saskatchewan, 620 CKRM.
Farm equipment is a huge investment, and when it's time to sell, you deserve a high return on your investment. Hi, I'm Terry from Zipperlock Building Company. At Zipperlock, our buildings have a distinct steel arch design that protects your equipment from the sun, rain, snow, and wind. Protection from the elements means protecting your investment. In other words, a Zipperlock building saves you money. Zipperlock Building Company, built in hours to last a lifetime. See us in Raymore or call 1-888-692-5515.
Yar, do you fancy yourself a bit of a price pirate? Get ready to pillage and plunder Tuesday treasures at Freeze Tallman. It's a treasure trove of clearance items on display at the bow or the front of the store. With new items announced on Tuesday, you'll never know the bounty you'll find. Check the website for updates or stop by the store in person. Tuesday treasures. No treasure maps needed. Visit freezetallman.com. Regina location only. Freeze Tallman. Let's get you building.
Do you have a safety program or OHS committee? Call Campbell Safety. Harassment in the workplace? Call Campbell Safety. Don't know if you have a proper safety program? Call Campbell Safety. Once you have an injury, it's too late to have a safety program. Be proactive with Campbell Safety Consulting. They'll come out and customize your safety program and be that extra set of eyes you need. 35 years experience doing health and safety, and they have seen it all, and then some. Call them today and get a free consultation. Campbell Safety Consulting.
Sask Lotteries has over 50 years of winning behind us, and you know what that means? Lots of winning numbers. Numbers like over 1,200 organizations funded and 12,000 plus groups supported. $6 million given away annually in community grants. And the winningest number of all? $1.4 billion given back to the people of Saskatchewan through sport, culture, and recreation. And we're just getting started. Learn more at sasklotteries.ca.
Elevate your baling experience with the Heston by Massey Ferguson 1 Series Round Baler. With a dependable, long-lasting design for challenging conditions and high-speed baling, this machine features swing-away net loading and an optional hydraulic drop floor for easy obstruction clearing. Quality hay production starts today with Heston by Massey Ferguson. See the Massey Ferguson 1 Series Round Baler at Nick's Service in Emerald Park. For more information, visit nickservice.com.
Employee pricing is back! Right now, you pay what I pay. You pay what we pay. It's amazing. And guess what? You don't have to do any work.
Right now, you pay what I pay.
They get our discount?
Yeah.
Can you believe it? We got over 100 F-150s. We got over 50 Super Duties. We got Escapes, Bronco Sports, over 300 new vehicles to choose from. We got it all. Don't miss the employee pricing at Capital Ford Lincoln.
The Sportscage Clutch Performer for Nick's Service in Emerald Park. Your local Massey Ferguson Challenger, Rogator, Gleaner, and Fendt dealer. Call 781-1077.
And preseason action. How about this? Cam Little, the Jacksonville Jaguars, and a 70-yard field goal. Are you telling me that that's as close as you got to get?
Holy smokes. They got a shot.
He just kicked a 70-yard field goal. Are you kidding me? Crazy.
Are you?
I've never seen.
The Jacksonville Jaguars are going to need as much help as they can get. Cam Little with the 70-yarder. And then, not to be outdone, a little closer to home, Sergio Castillo from the Winnipeg Blue Bombers at a 63-yarder.
Castillo from 63. That is all. Got it! As clutch as they come, Castillo nails it for Winnipeg, and they go on top.
You got to love Dustin Nielsen from TSN on the call there. Sergio Castillo bombing it from 63 yards. I was worried in that game because Rene Paredes, who's been one of the best CFL kickers in his career, just doesn't have that kind of leg anymore, and that they were able to get close enough because he missed from a little further out. Stamps came back. I mean, you had to be cheering for somebody. I know some people, they just can never, ever cheer for the Bombers when it comes to anything. I was like, I don't know who so the Bombers are 4-4 because of that. Stamps are 6-3. So Cam Little, Sergio Castillo, your clutch performers for Nick's Service in Emerald Park. Time to take our last break of the hour. Coming up, Red Sox playoff game tonight. With a win at Curry, they could be on to the WCBL finals. We'll get into more of that next. This is the Sports Cage on 620 CKRM.
620 CKRM is your home to country's greatest hits and the 90s at 9. 1 full hour featuring the biggest hits of the 90s. Garth, Reba, Alan, Shania, George, and so much more. No cassette tape or CDs required, and 90s mullets are optional. 90s at 9 for the town of Wolseley and the voice of Saskatchewan. 620 CKRM.
Danceland at Manitou Beach is proud to present SCMA multi-award winner J.J. Voss and a damn good band. Saturday, September 13th. J.J. Voss.
And all I know is I want to go home.
Advance tickets for the barbecue buffet and dance, $65. Burger and beer is $50. The bus tour departing from Regina is $35. So you can take the tour, enjoy the buffet and the dance for only $100. The football game will be on during supper. Then J.J. Voss and a damn good band in the historic Danceland Ballroom, home of the horsehair dance floor.
Some people just gotta dance.
Don't miss a very special night with JJ Voss and a damn good band. Saturday, September 13th in the Danceland Ballroom at beautiful Manitou Beach. Get tickets and information now at danceland.ca.
You've heard of Flamin and what we do, but why work here? Here's Melissa, a member of our team for 7 years.
I love working at Flamin. It's just got a little bit of everything that I look for in a job. The people here are great, the employees, customers, suppliers. It's a great teamwork environment. It's just got a good work-life balance, good flexibility, which is important to me as well.
Our people are what make us great. You fit at Flamin. To learn more, visit flamin.com/careers.
Come watch former pro and collegiate level players battle it out for the national championship. The Baseball Canada Men's National Championships are coming to Optimus Park in Curry Field. Get a full event pass or grab a day pass. Don't forget about the Twilight Games. All the baseball you can handle. August 20th opening ceremonies and Home Run Derby are completely free. Bring a glove, these bats don't miss. The Baseball Canada Men's National Championships are coming to Optimus Park in Curry Field. See you at the park.
Nelson Homes is having a summer blowout sale on quick possession homes that you don't want to miss out on. Get free delivery anywhere in Saskatchewan on select in-stock show homes and spec home RTMs. For more information, visit their website, homes.nlc.ca. Or for general information, call 1-800-661-6534. That's the Nelson Homes Summer Blowout Sale. Nelson Homes, trusted quality and service since 1949.
Get it hot, get it fast, Western Pizza.
Ugh, what do I want for supper? There's a bag of baby carrots, a slice of cheese that looks haunted.
Step away from the sad cheese, Dave.
What, the fridge? Since when do you talk?
Since you've been standing here for 10 minutes whispering pizza or cereal like it's a hostage negotiation. I'll make this simple. Order Western Pizza. You are welcome.
Get it hot, get it fast, Western Pizza.
Country Corner, brought to you by Municipal Hail Insurance. Proudly serving farmers. MunicipalHail.ca.
The 25th annual Whitewood Chickachaz Rodeo is this weekend. Don't miss an Indigenous dance troupe Friday at 6:30. Shea Istash performs Friday, and there's DJ music by CRT Sound Saturday, plus a full canteen. Adults $15, kids 7 to 12 are 8, and 6 and under free. Weekend passes $25. Regina is hosting the Baseball Canada Men's National Championship August 21st to 24th at Curry Field and Optimus Park. Exciting baseball action with 10 teams from across the country. Details at reginatrappers.ca. And Danceland at Manitou Beach presents SCMA multi-award winner JJ Voss and a damn good band. Saturday, September 13th. There's a barbecue buffet or burger and beer and a bus tour departing from Regina. Tickets and information at danceland.ca.
For more information, visit 620ckrm.com. It's time for the Sports Ticker, brought to you by Extreme Hockey and Sports, Regina's locally owned one-stop hockey shop. Now with a price match guarantee. 1425 McIntyre Street.
CBL playoffs tonight. It's game 2 between the Regina Red Sox and the Saskatoon Berries. Sox won last night 8-7, and with a win tonight, they can move on to the final. They'll either play Okotoks or Sylvan Lake. First pitch tonight at Curry Field goes at 7 o'clock. Almost 1,000 tickets have already been sold for tonight's game. Jays are off today and start a series with the Cubs tomorrow at home. On the ice at the Hlinka Gretzky Cup, Canada beat Finland 5-3 tomorrow. They'll take on Switzerland. The UFC and CBS Paramount have struck a 7-year, $7.7 billion deal, which will have all UFC events stream on the Paramount Plus app at no extra charge starting in 2026. The Riders have signed first-round global draft pick Sylvain Youngin, 6'4", 260, played 5 years at Georgia Tech, and the Riders will be back on the practice field tomorrow after a week off. That's your Sports Ticker. In just a couple of minutes here, after the top of the hour, Double Talk with Darian Durant. But this is going to be a special edition of Double Talk. And we said, Darian, what about getting Charleston Hughes on? Because Charleston's on with us. You're on Mondays. Let's get it together. Because Colson, they have a bit of history, don't they? They never played together as teammates in Rider Nation, but they played in the league at the same time. So, like, some of the stats, like what's some of the stuff that we kind of need to know going into this interview here, or this segment in just a couple of minutes?
So I was looking it up. First off, Hughes played from 2008 to 22.
Yeah.
And Durant played from 2006 to 2018.
Yeah.
Really 2017, right? So yeah, definite overlap.
Sure. Definite overlap.
From what I was able to find, Charleston sacked Darian 15 times in his career.
Whoa.
Of Charleston's, 130 some sacks? I don't remember exactly. I think it was Wikipedia lies, doesn't it?
Yeah, Wikipedia lies.
So 130 some. It was something about around there.
Yeah, but he got Durant 15 times.
Yeah, which from where I was reading, the only quarterback he got more was Michael Riley, who he got 18 times.
Mike Riley, yeah.
Yeah.
Mike Riley was a good quarterback. Yeah, he was tough. Yeah, so we've got a special edition to Double Talk with Darian Durant and Charleston Hughes coming up in just a couple of minutes. This is the Sports Cage. If you've missed any part of the show, you can always catch it on demand on your schedule. Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts, like our website, sportscage.com. And with one click, you can have every show we've done right there for you, and you decide what show and when you want to listen. This is the Sports Cage on the home of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, 620 CKRM.
Proudly broadcasting from Treaty 4 territory, the homeland of the Dakota, Nakota, Lakota, Saulteaux, and on the homeland of the Métis Nation. We are 620 CKRM Regina, a Harvard media station.
It's 5 o'clock. Good evening. I'm Corey Atkinson from the SaskToday.ca newsroom with your 620 CKRM News for Echo Sound and Fort Qu'Appelle. Stay connected with the new cell phone from Echo Sound. Call 306-332-6711. Regina police are investigating a shooting that sent an 11-year-old girl to hospital with serious injuries. Police were called to a home just after 2 a.m. on Monday and found a child inside with a gunshot wound. They say multiple shots were fired at the home. Investigators are asking anyone in the area with video from the past 24 hours to contact them. An LGBTQ plus group challenging Saskatchewan's pronoun law says it will move forward with its lawsuit after a key court ruling. Lawyer Bennett Jensen from Egal Canada, representing UR Pride, says the law causes irreparable harm to gender-diverse youth. The law requires students under 16 to get parental consent to change their preferred name or pronouns at school. The Saskatchewan Court of Appeal has ruled a judge can hear the group's arguments and issue a declaratory judgment on the constitutionality of the rights, despite the province's use of the notwithstanding clause. Saskatchewan's housing market stayed hot in July, setting records despite cooling trends elsewhere in Canada. The Saskatchewan Realtors Association reports 1,851 sales last month, up 11% from last year and over 30% above the 10-year average. Regina and Saskatoon both hit sales and price records, while smaller cities like Humboldt and Melville saw the biggest year-over-year price jumps. The provincial benchmark price reached an all-time high of $372,700. Tight inventory is driving prices higher, with supply in some regions at under 2 months. Saskatchewan police were busy this weekend responding to multiple calls at a fair in Prince Albert. Officials say a 24-year-old man was arrested after a 9-year-old boy was hit by a vehicle near the entrance to the exhibition grounds. The vehicle fled the scene but was located by police soon after, and the boy was treated for non-life-threatening injuries. Prime Minister Mark Carney and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky had a phone call today as world leaders prepare for a Ukraine war summit involving only the U.S. and Russia. Carney's office confirmed the two leaders underscored that decisions on the future of Ukraine must be made by Ukrainians, adding diplomatic engagement must be reinforced by continued pressure on Russia to end its aggression. And a U.S. veteran of the Second World War took to the skies once again in the P-51 Mustang plane that he piloted more than 8 decades ago.
Joseph Peterbers earned his pilot wings in 1944. He was assigned to the 55th Squadron in England, completing 49 combat missions during World War II. He recently went back to England to take a victory lap.
Flying in memory of all those young men that didn't make it back.
Peterbers flew 76 combat missions during the Korean War. He retired in 1979. Allison Cossack, ABC News, New York.
That was your 620 CKRM News. Read more stories from around your community and around the province at sasktoday.ca and 620ckrm.com. Your weather is next.
Let's get out on the water.
Now is the best time of year to buy a boat or pontoon at Kevin's Marine. Cast a line in a Lund fishing boat. Take the family out on a Four Winds boat. Or head out on a pontoon by Harris or Crest. Powered by Mercury Motors at the lowest prices of the year. There are manufacturer's rebates, dealer discounts, and low payment financing on a great selection of boats and pontoons. Plus Shoremaster aluminum docks and lifts. Kevin's Marine in Fort Capel. Enjoy your summer. Get out on the water. Stop by or shop online at kevinsmarine.com.
Way to go, Travis Kelce. I mean, son.
As fun as it is watching your 5-year-old run the wrong way or pick dandelions on the football field, what if I told you you could watch your favorite sports or shows on the go anywhere? Well, you can with MaxStream TV from Echo Sound, your SaskTel authorized dealer. Take MaxStream anywhere you go.
Oh, wrong way, buddy.
MaxStream and great internet plans available at Echo Sound, your SaskTel authorized dealer in Fort Capel, echosound.ca.
Your 620 CKRM Precision Weather Forecast is brought to you by Croft Electric. 27 years of trusted, reliable home, farm, and commercial service for all your electrical needs. CroftElectric.com and on all socials. And also for Linex Regina, Serious Protection, Killer Looks, 1865 McCarra Street. Now, your Precision Weather Forecast.
Tonight, the shower threat lingers into the evening. A clearing sky follows. We're around 11. And as I mentioned, the wind is up today. It will diminish through the evening hours and become much lighter overnight. Tomorrow, mostly sunny sky, the high 24. The wind not overly strong, gets back into the 15 to 25 range, holds there, turns around, and gets howling again on Wednesday. It's a warmer day, though, 27. The dew point, as I recall, and I'm verifying my memory here as I talk, is not going to be too terribly low. And that means when the wind picks up and the sun gets the temperature up a little bit, the humidity is not going to drop off to critical levels. So even though the wind is up a little bit, fire danger does not get critical with that wind. We're still missing the bone dryness, which is good news for sure. Of course, where the winds are going, where the wildfires are, that's still an issue as far as new fire spread, not too much of a concern. Partly sunny sky for Thursday, 24 the high, and backing down to 22 with mostly sunny sky on Friday. The wind will be up too for the end of the week and the weekend. So quiet weather with at times breezy conditions looks to be our outlook into the weekend.
When you want the best for your truck, you want Linex. Your truck has withstood the harshest elements Saskatchewan has thrown at it. Rocks, gravel, rain, sleet, and snow, and left with no chips, no rust. Linex protective coating keeps your truck's bed liners, rocker panels, and bumpers looking like brand new. Don't settle for Brand X. Go with Linex. It's serious protection. Come see why everybody loves taking their truck to Linex Regina for their rocker panels, bumpers, and more. Linex, make your truck complete. 1865 McCarra Street.
Croft Electric. You've probably heard of us because we've been around for over 27 years. We do commercial and residential work? Yes. We do permanent holiday lighting? Yes. We do cabins? Yes. And farms? Yes and yes. We're an authorized Generac generator dealer. We are a full-service electrical company with the experience and the people to service all of your electrical needs. We are Croft Electric. We will be here when you need us. Do it right, do it once. Follow us on all social and call 306-586-1333 to book.
Broadcasting from Century Studios in downtown Regina, Harvard Media presents The Sportscage, where Saskatchewan comes to talk local sports. Brought to you by Kellen Solar, installing solar in residential and commercial buildings for 35 years. Local and trusted. Kellen Solar. Visit kellensolar.com. Be part of the show. Call 1-866-767-0620 or text 306-936-6262. The Sports Cage. Streaming at sportscage.com, our YouTube channel, and on the radio at 620 CKRM.
It's a big night for baseball in Regina. The Red Sox and the Saskatoon Berries. It's a short series, best of three, and Gary Brotzel, as we chatted with him on the show last week, you get hot and all sorts of good things can happen. So the Sox win last night 8-7 in 11 innings. So tonight, with a win over the Berries, they could move on to the WCBL final to play either the Sylvan Lake Gulls or the Okotoks Dogs. First pitch tonight at Curry Field goes at 7. Not the best weather. Some rain falling in Regina. So far, so good. Things could let up. Could be showers on and off, but as far as we know, everything's a go. If there is a Game 3, and things get played tonight, it would be played tomorrow night in Saskatoon. This is the Sports Cage. Thanks for being part of it. Whether you're listening on 620 CKRM or you're watching on our social channels on X or on YouTube, we appreciate it. We're getting set here for what we think is going to be a little bit of fun. A special Monday edition of Double Talk with Darian Durant and special guest Charleston Hughes. Let's get to that right now. Colson, let's get things fired up.
It's time for Double Talk with Saskatchewan Roughrider legend Darian Durant. Double Talk is brought to you by Campbell Safety Consulting. At Campbell Safety Consulting, we work towards helping companies create a competitive edge by executing a proactive health and safety program.
Ah, there we are. Look at that. A screen full of CFL legends. And me.
Double Talk. Double D, what's up?
What's up, man? How you doing?
Man, enjoying this weather behind me.
I see.
All right. So Darian Durant, Charleston Hughes, you guys played in the league at the same time, but you never played on the same. You were never riders at the same time, correct?
No.
What was it? The crossover.
Yeah, I got shipped out of town before Charleston got there.
Yeah, I was about to say, man, I didn't come to the Riders till like 2017. That's when I joined with Saskatchewan.
Okay. I think Colson did this. It wasn't me. I'm not bringing this up. Apparently, Darian was the second most sacked quarterback by Charleston Hughes. You got him 15 times, but you got Mike Riley 18. All right. So this is Colson that brought up these stats, not me. I got nothing to say here.
Yeah, man. He's been digging deep for that stuff, dude.
Probably should have been about 25. I know I got up out about 10 of them, too.
Oh, yeah. That man, he was one of the hardest quarterbacks to bring down in the league, and that was well known amongst all D linemen.
Let's go back to that time when the Riders were playing really good football and the Stampeders were playing really good football. Charleston, we'll go to you first. I know that a lot of people want to make that the Rider-Bomber rivalry. Yes, there is that. But in those late 2000s and the mids, the Riders and Stampeders, there was some serious hate there because those were not missed games. Charleston, what do you remember about those Rider teams with Durant around that time? What made them so good?
Man, and especially around that time, man, because that's when they were rocking with a lot of Canadian receivers at the time, and they were doing this Canadian Air Canada with all the receivers that they had over there, man, and it was all receivers that can play. And at that time, you got to think Saskatchewan and Calgary were the two elite teams in the league. And really wasn't nobody else really competing, at a high level and had a team that was talented, from top to bottom. It's hard to have and doing it well in all three phases of the game on offense, defense, and special teams. So we knew that it was going to be a battle and a showdown every time we went to Saskatchewan or they came to us. So, yeah, it became a rival around that time, man, because it's just what it was.
So, Darian, what do you remember about that time in those games? Because that was for me, those are some of the best CFL memories I have of that era of football.
Yeah, absolutely. We both were, like you said, we both had relative rosters. I mean, a lot of people talk about what we had offensively, but defensively, we had some guys that could fly around, make plays as well. So I think it was just, two big time teams. And it seems like every time we played those guys, it was always something on the line, whether it be, fighting for home field advantage in the playoffs or bragging rights, of course, because a lot of those guys were familiar with the guys on our team. So every single time we faced those guys, man, it was just something on the line, and it was a big time environment for sure.
Is that missing a little bit in the league nowadays? Do you think those rivalries will ever be as intense as it was back then? Fans and players?
Man, I don't think so for sure, man, just because of, the type of players that were in the league at the time. The league is kind of missing those players who are like more veteran style players in the league. And kind of know the game. The league has kind of shifted a little bit where they got a lot of young players in the league, and they're still trying to figure out their way in the CFL.
And also
Darian,
these
you feel the
1-year
same way?
contracts. Yeah, these 1-year contracts are, you don't have the type of continuity in these teams like we had and Calgary did back then. I mean, it was easy to see 5 or 6, 7 or 8-year veterans on each squad back then. I mean, guys who were in the communities, guys who, made sure that they didn't just leave for the money. They wanted to be a good team and stay, where they made their name. So I don't think you see much of that these days. Guys are quick to, sign a 1-year deal and get out of town. Whereas back when we were going at it, guys locked in for 2, 3, 4 years at a time.
Like, there was no way after Chris Getzlaff makes that beautiful catch at McMahon Stadium, there was no way in the offseason he was going to leave and sign as a free agent to become a Stampeder. Whereas now, like you had said, Charleston, were you on the field for that play when Getzlaff caught that touchdown from Durant? That was a beautiful play.
I was mad about it. Yeah. You know how many times I came to the sideline mad at that, we should have been made the tackle and tackled him in the backfield. And next thing I know, he's going for like 40, 50 yards. And I'm looking like from the defensive line standpoint, it's aggravating. It definitely is.
Darian, what's it like staring down a Jawan Simpson who's coming downhill at about 1,000,000 miles an hour trying to take your head off as part of that Stampeder defense back then?
Man, Jawan was a baller, man. I mean, that whole defense and the thing they were smart. Those guys read keys. They talked to you at the line of scrimmage. They knew the splits of the offensive linemen.
What?
They actually knew my stance. They knew if it was a run or pass based on, my stance. Sometimes I learned that later on in my career that they were, looking at tips like that. But man, I mean, playing against Charleston and those guys, they were very vocal.
Hey, who told you that?
I found that out later. I can't tell on my boy. Yeah, I mean, just those guys, they were so super smart. They knew what was going on. And that's what made Charleston so good, man. He wasn't just a pass rusher. He knew exactly what the offense was trying to do to attack him. And, he was one of the best players because he knew what was going on. Smart guy.
So the Calgary Stampeders were the Houston Astros of the CFL. They were stealing signs on our Saskatchewan Roughriders. Come on, Charleston.
No.
Okay,
no,
here's your chance to come clean.
No.
All right. So did you guys have the no and the tell? I mean, you stopped playing a long time ago. We're all friends. You can be honest. Did you have a little inside information?
Say that football is a game of competitive advantages. And how you get those competitive advantages, gives you the upper hand and increases your percentages on winning the game. Now, me personally, I took it upon myself to know the offensive lineman that I'm facing and the quarterback that I'm facing. So I knew personally how deep this quarterback drops. In certain situations, I knew where the landing point was for that. I knew if one foot was forward, one foot was back. If the right foot's forward, it's probably a run. If his feet are even, then I'm pretty sure they're probably passing. I knew everything, every step of the way, from an offensive lineman having his heel down on the ground to having his heel up off the ground, whether it was run or pass. I listened to snap counts. I listened to, verbal language between the O-linemen. I mean, I play TV copies and I rewind over and over on TV copies, listening to the cadence of the quarterback to gauge my get off from the line of scrimmage. Like, I took into account trying to find any competitive advantage, period, that I would have.
Darian, do you think that kind of work, like what he just said to me, which I'm like, wow, that seems intense. Do you think that kind of work is being put in nowadays by guys in the league, that attention to detail?
I don't think so. Not at all. I mean, like I said, these guys, first of all, they're not in one place long enough with the same coach. First of all, you have to be taught how to watch film. You have to be taught how to look for tendencies, how to break down film. And if guys are switching from defensive coordinator to defensive coordinator, you can't get a bead on this team. when we played Charleston and Calgary, we played each other 3-4 times a year. Well, if I'm in Saskatchewan this year and I'm in Hamilton next year, and I have to now play Montreal 4 times, it kind of switches up the advantages that you can get. So whenever you can hone in, especially when you're playing against a team so many times, and the games are always going to come down to one play here or there, or who had, like Charleston said, competitive advantage. Guys just don't have that time these days to put in that type of work.
Yeah, especially in the NFL, man. You got to think that a lot of stuff is passed down from generation, right? So when you got a bunch of older players that are before you, you kind of learn from those guys that kind of pass the information down. I mean, before I retired, I tried to pass as much knowledge as I could to as many guys that I played with, to give them the competitive advantage, give them the blueprint of, how I, paved the way in my career, because I didn't have nobody to really teach me. I had to kind of figure it out and learn it over time and watch other guys like the Cam Wakes and the Phillip Hunts and the guys like that. I had to watch these guys and kind of see, what are they doing? What are they reading? How are they figuring this out? So it took a lot of film study for me to kind of figure out, I see what they're seeing now.
Let's go to the games on the weekend. This is Double Talk with Darian Durant. Charleston Hughes is joining us on this special edition today. BC goes to Hamilton, and they end up winning in overtime. And it was unfortunate. Tim White fumbles, and then the Lions kick the field goal. I like the fight in BC, and I like the fight in Hamilton. Do you think that this win, Darian, can maybe get BC pointed in the right direction? Because Nathan Rourke, he was balling out there. You could tell that the game it's like it meant something to him.
We'll see. I mean, I think we're still trying to figure out who BC really is. I mean, a couple weeks ago, they went to Montreal and won late in the game, and we thought, okay, here they are. They're going to turn the corner, and then, they suffer a couple losses from there. So I think the homework still needs to be done on BC. We don't know who they are yet, but I think this is a huge win. Whenever you have to compete with Winnipeg and Calgary and Saskatchewan out west, you have to get as many wins as you can. So kudos to BC for getting a big win on the road, but I'm still not ready to say what they are because I just don't know yet.
Charleston, are you buying BC stock
right now? Huh?
Are you buying BC Lions stock at this point of the season, or are you in a waiting pattern too?
No way, man. You got to wait it out. Nah, man. I wouldn't put none of my eggs in that basket.
And then Friday night, Cody Fajardo and the Edmonton Elks go into Montreal. Last minute drive, they go down and win. Whether you think it's pretty or not, or it doesn't follow the right sort of path, Cody's a gamer, and Cody does what Cody does, and he kind of did his thing. I was happy to see that they got the win. He has made the Elks, I know they're only 2-6 or 2-7, but he's made them competitive again, right? Like they have to be taken seriously with him at quarterback.
Yeah, man. I think they have to, especially because Cody is in an interesting position that I think he's been in multiple times with multiple teams, where he's not placed as the guy, and then he ended up being put in there as a savior, and then where you think the Jesus sprinkles came from, and he comes in and he does best, man. And that's just, I got nothing to lose. I'm just gonna compete and make stuff happen, and that's just what he's doing. He's been in this position before, like multiple times, and you can rely on him to be great, really.
Darian, you've had this before.
Steady.
Yeah.
That's the word I like to use for Cody.
Okay, steady. What did you like about
steady.
His game on Friday?
He's just steady. I mean, he's not going to hurt you. He's going to use his legs when he needs to. He's going to complete the tough pass. And in the fourth quarter, he's going to have you in a position for a game-winning drive. I mean, he's not going to wow you. There's nothing, overly, especially, athletically with him. But I just always putting the team in position. He's making the plays when they present themselves. And, he's giving this Edmonton team some life. I mean, I think with Trey Ford at quarterback, you know what you're going to get. There'll be a spectacular play here or there, but they could just never hang around because he wasn't consistent enough in the pass game. And Cody is just giving this team, whenever you believe as his teammates, he picks up the game of everyone around him. And they believe in Cody because they know he's the Grey Cup champ. And this team is playing like it.
Charleston, what does that do for you as a defender when there's a quarterback change like this and you got a guy that can ball a little bit? Just what does that do to the spirits of the defense?
I mean, really, you got to change up your game plan. Like, I would never go into a game playing against a player like that and not know exactly how I'm going to attack this guy and, kind of diffuse what he does best. I would just never put myself in that position. I wouldn't even if I was coaching a defensive line, I would let them know right off the bat, like, look, this is what we're going to get. We're going to get a player who really doesn't have a lot to lose. He's going to play his best game like he's going into a Grey Cup winning championship game, and he's going to play like that every game. So when it comes down to it, he's going to use his legs, like Double D said. He's going to throw good passes. He's marching the ball downfield. He's doing his best not to make mistakes. He's not trying to turn the ball over. I mean, you really got to be patient and attack this guy the right way.
Ottawa and Toronto, and Darian, when we chatted last week, we kind of had no idea what may happen in this football game because they were kind of erratic at best at times. You saw a shootout, 46-42. Ryan Dinwiddie said there was it passengers this week on the squad or whatever. It was exciting football, but if you watched it was a little frustrating too because the same mistakes were happening and on both sides of the ball for both teams, and Ottawa ends up coming out with a win.
If you're a defensive guy, you're frustrated. I mean, but as an offensive guy, whenever you could, complete 80% of your passes, almost 400 yards, 5 touchdowns. Speaking of Drew Brown, it's a hell of an offensive day. So I didn't think that we'd see a shootout like this. I thought, Toronto had enough to beat Ottawa, but with the mistakes, like you said, you just can't make those mistakes. And we all know Dinwiddie, he's pissed off about that, and he's letting the guys know, all this week about all those mistakes. But, kudos to Ottawa for going in there and getting a big win.
Charleston, you had them down 22-1 in the first quarter.
Turning red, yelling and cussing, like...
Oh, yeah, the Argonauts, if you missed it, they were up 22-1. What was it in the second quarter? And I thought, well, this game's over. So I went and did some stuff around the house, and I came back in the third quarter, and I'm like, whoa, this game is this is not over. This is actually a game again. I mean, as a defense at times, Charleston, do you throw up your hands and go, I don't know what to do because whatever we're doing, it's not working. It's frustrating.
Hey, man, I don't know. Like I said, I've never been that guy. You got to try to do what you can. And if the chip's not falling in your favor, man, you got to figure out what I need to do different to have an impact in the game. Cream always rises to the top, man. The best players, that's when you see, who your guys are in times like that.
All right, it's a special edition of Double Talk. It's Darian Durant and Charleston Hughes today for Campbell Safety Consulting. Guys, we're going to take a break, and we come back. We'll talk about the Jake Herslow hurdle. We'll also talk about the Stamps and the Bombers, and then the Riders and Ticats this week as Hamilton comes to town, the best team in the East Division. This is Double Talk on the home of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, 620 CKRM.
620 CKRM is your home to country's greatest hits and the 90s at 9. 1 full hour featuring the biggest hits of the 90s. Garth, Reba, Alan, Shania, George, and so much more. No cassette tape or CDs required, and 90s mullets are optional. 90s at 9 for the town of Wolseley and the voice of Saskatchewan. 620 CKRM.
SEIU West members are
Stores person,
Unit Assistant, Finance Officer,
Unit Clerk,
Recreation Coordinator,
Youth Care Worker,
Medical Laboratory Technologist, Power Engineer,
Office Administrative Assistant,
Maintenance Services Worker,
Medical Transcriptionist,
Medical Office Assistant, File Clerk,
Medical Laboratory Assistant,
Pharmacy Technician.
the backbone of your public health care system. Learn more at seius.ca.
The ball is snapped. He scans the field. He's going deep. What a play! Rider fans, make your own great play by going to riders5050.ca. You can now buy tickets for every Rider game, home or away. You can also sign up for the 50-50 Club and never miss a draw, including the weekly loyalty and early bird prizes. All proceeds support amateur football in Saskatchewan, equipping the heartland, and just maybe score a big win. Get your tickets today at riders5050.ca and go Riders! Riders 50-50 is presented by ISC.
The rivalry hits the fairway at the 3rd Annual Labor Day Golf Classic at Aspen Links, Saturday, August 30th. The most fan-friendly tourney. CFL alumni Dan Clark, Andrew Green, Luke Mullender, and more tee it up for Team Green and White versus Team Blue and Gold, and you're invited. Lunch at 11, shotgun start at noon, dinner at 6, and the after party kicks off at 8. All proceeds support Regina Minor football, so come swing for a cause. Register now by emailing info@aspenlinks.ca. Aspen Links. Golf. Rivalry. Legacy.
If you've got a Steelcraft garage door, you've got a door with parts manufactured and assembled right here in Canada. A door with better insulation and seal, plus a warranty you're probably never going to use. Combined with a LiftMaster opener, it's the right choice. And if you don't have a Steelcraft garage door, you should get one. And a LiftMaster opener. 100% made by Canadians for Canadians. Steady, tariff-free pricing and great quality, no matter what.
Steelcraft door, Steelcraft door, Steelcraft door. We offer more.
So, since that little ding on my car last week, I don't know where to take it.
I don't even know. That's easy. Take it to Regina Motor Products.
Who said that?
I did. Down here. I'm Terry the Tire. Regina Motor Products Chevrolet Collision Center and SGI accredited auto body repair is a full-service collision and body shop that works on all makes and models. Just submit your claim to SGI and set an appointment to get your appraisal done. Easy.
I bet you're tired after saying all that.
South at Highway 1 and 6, Albert Street. RMPChevrolet.com.
This is Sportscage. Watch our live stream at sportscage.com and on the radio at 620 CKRM.
The Saskatchewan Roughrider Foundation is giving you a chance to win a Sparkling Hill Spa getaway this week with flights to Kelowna, 2 nights hotel at Sparkling Hill Resort, and a Kerr Spa couples massage. Sounds romantic. Or you could take $4,500 cash. Entry deadline is Thursday. 5. You can buy your tickets at riders5050.ca. It's the Monday edition of Double Talk for Campbell Safety and Consulting. Saskatchewan Roughrider legend Darian Durant, as always, and Saskatchewan Roughrider and Calgary Stampede. He's a CFL legend. Don't believe the stats on Wikipedia. Charleston Hughes joins us. Charleston, the last time we had you on, you said you were going to SeaWorld on vacation with the family. Did you make it to SeaWorld, and how was it?
I didn't make it.
What?
Yeah, man, I diverted on a different road trip. So I'm in Wheatling, Wyoming right now.
And what are you doing there?
Yeah, I went in the complete opposite direction of where SeaWorld was. I'm actually heading to Casper, Wyoming.
Okay. Little work trip?
Yep, on a little work trip. Probably go hang out in the mountains for a little bit. Go chase some bears, chase some elk, try to take down an elk, all that good stuff.
Nice.
It's a good thing. It's a good thing nobody from PETA is listening to the show right now when you just said that. On Saturday, with Vernon Adams Jr. healthy and then Zach Calero starting for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, I'm like, all right, this hopefully should be the game of the week. And it didn't disappoint. Darian, he's my choice for the MOP at this point of the season. Big play VA, coming back, looking good, doing all the things that big play VA does. If anything, he's a calming presence. He's instilled confidence in that young Stampeder team, right?
Absolutely. I mean, they believe in him. And, we saw what PJ Walker played a couple weeks ago. I mean, VA has to be healthy. He's pretty much this team's only hope. So, he's been steady all season, barring injury. Like I said, I think he's one of the best, if not the best quarterback in the league. He's playing like it, and a big-time game-winning drive for him to get to get it done against a tough Winnipeg team who came in there, and it started off pretty hot. So kudos to VA for getting it done.
Charleston Bombers, Samps, you've said that the Bombers are inconsistent. They're 4-4. They had their flashes in that game, but at times they played well in Calgary. That was just a good football game.
It was a good football game to watch, man, but same thing I've been saying all year, man. Like, Winnipeg is just super inconsistent right now, man. They show flashes, but they don't show the resilience, the team that's, a tough winning team like they normally are throughout the years. And just Calgary's just playing good, man. It's just VA. Yeah, if VA ain't in the game, then Calgary's going to have a struggle. So they better keep him healthy all year if they want to make it to the big game.
Huff, if you're listening, we're sorry. We didn't mean to pick you last in the preseason polls.
It's still early. It's still early, man. I wouldn't write that off yet. Hey, don't start writing them off too early. It's early, man.
I know. The laugh, if you're just listening on the radio and you're not watching the stream, the laugh is Charleston, Hughes, Darian, Durant. This is Double Talk for Campbell Safety Consulting. All right. So the Riders are 7-1 and they had the bye week. The West has still got some dog and some fight in them. I don't think we're going 17-1 after what we saw this past week. Hamilton comes to town this week. Darian, Bo Levi, well, because we'll get to Charleston in a second because he played with Bo Levi. But Bo Levi is a more mature, does he have more tools or more bullets in the gun these days than he did before when he was just a gunslinger?
I mean, with knowledge comes, definitely he's being a lot smarter. I mean, you look at last year, he started off, throwing tons of picks. He wasn't doing well. And this year, he started off a little bit slow, and so did the Tiger Cats, but he's just picked it up. He's taking what the defense gives him. He's not forcing the ball downfield, and having Kenny Lawler out there to make those 50-50 catches, it gives Bo a weapon that no one in the league has. So, he's doing a great job of taking what the defense gives him. And, look, this is Bo. Bo's going to be consistent. He's going to get completions. As long as he doesn't throw the ball to the other team or they, make him scramble and do something he doesn't like, he's going to sit back and do apart.
Now, Charleston, you saw a young Bovi come into this league when he was just all gunslinger and, walking the walk. Now that you see him and what he's evolved into, because you were there at the start and you're seeing it now, he's reinvented himself, hasn't he?
He's definitely reinvented himself, man. And the thing is Bo Levi is a great football player, man. He's smart. He's been around. He knows the game. You can intend on him being at his best at all given times when he's out there playing, any team in the top of the league. And he's kind of the opposite of Cody when it comes down to it, where now Bo Levi, he knows who he is when he's going into that game. He knows that, the W for a team relies on him, and he has to play his best all the time. And I think he likes playing with that chip on his shoulder. So the thing is you're going to get his best every game.
So, Darian, let's say Scott Milanovic phones you tomorrow and says, all right, Riders on Saturday. Darian, how do we beat this Rider club that's 7-1 that's pretty good defensively? Where are the weaknesses or the holes for the Riders on defense?
Well, the Riders play a bend but don't break style defense in the secondary. And, sometimes playing against a quarterback like Bo, he's going to take what the defense gives you. He's not going to make those mistakes down the field. Sometimes, the softer you play right into the hands of a quarterback, especially the way Bo is playing right now. So, I think if you're Hamilton and you're Bo Levi, you just come in, you take the underneath completions, you make Saskatchewan come up in second and medium, second and short situations, get your one-on-ones down the field with some of these big-time receivers that they have. So, the key is basically first down for Hamilton. If you can put yourself in second and medium or second and short, then you give yourself an opportunity to go against a Rider secondary that has given up a lot of yards this year.
Charleston, how frustrating is it? You can't get to Trevor Harris because he's getting the ball out in 2.3, 2.4, 2.5 seconds. What do you do to disrupt that? Because sooner or later, it is, man. You're going to put your hands on your hips and be like, this isn't working. What do you got to do?
It's tough, man, and it gets frustrating for a defensive line, especially because I played against the Anthony Calvin VOs that get the ball out quick, and they're throwing short, range passes all the time. And when you're playing against a quarterback like that, I think I've won a Grey Cup just not pass rushing and just standing at the line of scrimmage and knocking the ball down. You got to try to do what you can to affect the game. And if not pass rushing and just trying to get the ball out of his hand and knock passes down is what, contributes to winning the game, is just what you got to do to sacrifice. When you're playing against a guy like Trevor Harris, you got a game plan. You can't just think that you're going to blitz and then the blitz is going to get there. You got to think that, train your guys to blitz and be prepared to get their hands up to knock the ball down. You got to do different stuff to kind of have an effect in the game.
Darian, sometimes when everyone's telling you how great you are, the Saskatchewan Roughriders are 7-1. Is that sometimes not the best thing? Because there's the wave of emotion or whatever, and when we've won, and we've been dominant, and things are going well. In the locker room, though, are there guys keeping it real, knowing, hey, listen, nothing's happened yet. It's August. This doesn't really mean anything. It's not even Labor Day yet.
For sure, you better. This is the West. You look at Calgary, you still have to go through Winnipeg, and the Riders have to go to Winnipeg twice. It's not easy to win in that building. So I think this is a must-win for the Riders. They have to beat Hamilton, because going into Calgary next week and then playing Winnipeg back-to-back, you have to look at it as, you're going to lose one of those games, possibly two huge road games in the West. So whenever you're in the West, I don't care what your record is, you should never think that you've got it in the bag. You just never know, man. Anybody can get hot. The weather can change. Anything can happen.
I agree. People are saying, well, the Bombers are 4-4, but the Bombers are a dangerous 4-4 because at any time they can go off and they can win, because as part of their inconsistency, when they win, they look good, and when they lose, they don't necessarily look good. Charleston, were you that guy in the locker room that had to keep everybody even keel? Telling them, listen, you know what? We got a job to do. Stop reading your press clippings, because you played on some pretty good teams that had some pretty good records that didn't always win the Grey Cup.
Not really, man, because like I said, we had a lot of veteran players. So when you got a lot of veteran players on the team, they know what to do and what to look for. So when it's an individual battle like that, you try to lead by example on the field. I know that's how I kind of went at the game, is just play hard and do your job. Do your part to win the game and let the chips fall where they lay.
Is there one thing that the Riders don't have yet, Darian, or one thing that you want to see, or if this is part 2 of this season, what do the Riders have to do more of or do better in your eyes to be like, all right, to go from a team that's had a good start to be a team that's consistent, and then consistent turns into dominant?
You got to win the big games. You have to win the games, against especially teams with winning records. It's one thing to beat up on the bottom half of the league, but these key games, especially on the road that are coming up against teams with winning records, those are the games you have to win before you can really look at yourself as, I've made it, or to consider yourself a really good team. Calgary went into Mosaic and won. So I think Calgary has the Riders' number there, and then the Riders have to go to Calgary next week, and we'll see where they are. But when you look at the Labor Day matchup with Winnipeg, I think you have to just mark that down as a split, and then you have to look at the other games as must-win.
Charleston, you played in the new, what they calling it, Princess Auto Stadium and stuff in Winnipeg. How hard is it to play there when it's sold out?
It's hard, man. It's loud in that stadium, man, and the fans really get riled up and into it. And the thing is when Winnipeg makes a play and they get going, like, it's tough. Like, it's tough to play in that stadium. That's probably one of the hardest places, I've ever had to play in, besides being in Calgary and playing in Saskatchewan at old Mosaic. But yeah, man, it's tough.
Now that you guys are out of the league and you can look back and, it's funny, as time goes by, maybe you forget some of the bad stuff. And now that, Darian, it wasn't pretty, but how awesome was Taylor Field? as like a bit of a dump, but your memory, because when you think about it, because when I think back on, man, there was some good times in those stands. Not everything was legit or legal, but man, there was some good stuff there. Because I mean, there's a lot of new stadiums and it's changed now. When you look back on your Taylor Field memories, is it just a smile?
That's it. I mean, it's just true football environment. I mean, you're not worried about all the beauty of the stadium or, what the size of the jumbotron or, some of the things that these guys look at when they enter stadiums now. It's just old school football. You knew that you had to deal with the crowd. They're right on top. It's more of a vertical stadium, so crowd noise is going to be crazy. But it's just football. 2 old school locker rooms that you had to deal with. I mean, that's what football is about. So that when it comes to that stadium, all I could think about is just old school football between good teams whenever they came in and played.
I don't like it, Taylor Field, man. I don't know how many times I walked into that stadium and got hit with a bag of Skittles, or people hit me with a beer can before. You had to leave your helmet on to walk out to the field. Like, that says a lot right there. That speaks volumes for what kind of, volatile environment you're walking in, where you better keep your helmet on when you're leaving out and you're walking in, because it's going to get rowdy out there. That's one.
Well, I'm glad that you said that, because I wanted to know. Now, Darian, not so much for you, but Charleston, when you were a Stampeder, players say, "Oh, I tune everything out." When you're on the sidelines and someone is in your ear, you're hearing all of that, aren't you? Some of that's coming through, because some of the stuff's pretty funny, actually. And when guys are getting on you, it is pretty entertaining, right?
It makes it fun. I mean, you got to enjoy those type of moments, especially as a player. Like, you won't get that kind of feel in really no sport. I don't know too many sports where you're going to walk into a stadium and the fans are that close where you can hear them. You barely can hear your coach trying to coach you up through a play, and it's a fan beacon behind you. And what I did, I used it as fuel, man. It fueled me to go back on the field and make a play, and then come back to the sideline and be listening for it. Like, come on, say something now. Like, I took it. I made efforts to go, let a fan beak at me just to get me riled up for, and then go out into the field and go like, okay, now what you gonna say?
It's funny, Darian, because I remember some of those games in Calgary when you guys would win on the road, and you'd go to the Rider fans in the stands, and there were a ton of them, and the high-fiving, the shaking hands, and we all appreciated that. And I don't know, a little fun fact, I think it was that one of those playoff games. The reason why there's chain link fence at McMahon Stadium along the sides of the stands is because of Rider Stampeder games that were getting a little out of hand, and they didn't know what to do. So there's security and there's cops, but that was always much appreciated. And it's funny, a lot of us look back at that is one of the best times in the CFL. Nothing against the product today, but those are just some of the times that you remember. It's like wrestling 20 years ago. There was a lot of characters and personalities. And Darian, do you think, and we'll get to you, Charleston, if the league can get back to building characters and personalities, can we kind of get that wave going again of this is a fun league to be a part of from a fan's perspective?
Anything is possible. I just think it takes, players staying in one place. I mean, you look at Calgary, they had Nick Lewis, there was Brandon Smith, there was Charleston, there was Jawan. There's just so many guys that were there, and fans can buy jerseys. Fans could interact with you. They could, kind of take on your persona a little bit. But until we have guys staying in a place for more than 5 years, 6, 7 years, then I don't think so. But there's an opportunity.
Hey, Charleston, if we don't change something, Luke Wilson's going to be the most popular guy in the CFL, and he's never played a down of Canadian football. Uh-oh.
Right, that's great. I mean, granted, he is doing an amazing job.
Oh, yeah.
Riling people up and getting media coverage on the CFL. And kudos off to he's doing exactly what he's supposed to do. And, like, if I was in a fishing, I would do the exact same thing. So I like that he's in the league doing that. But when it comes to just the understanding and the camaraderie of the locker room, that's the part that, the guys are going to get on him about, because you've never bled with nobody on this field. You've never been out here. You never even remotely touched the field. You played in the NFL, which is cool. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that either. I mean, that's where most guys want to be at, is the NFL. But when it comes to CFL ball, it's a different game. It's players that have been in this league that's, shed blood, sweat, and tears, who've really given their all in their life to the CFL game. And I'm one of them, where it's like, man, I've given everything. Half my life was spent in Canada when you really think about it and put it all to paper. So you just want to see somebody with some relatability to that.
Yeah. Well, as someone who sits here who has the pleasure of speaking to both of you, as a fan, I love the era that you guys played in. That will always be my favorite era of the CFL. That's what the part that I get romantic about, where you smile or whatever. And so, like I said, so Stampeder Rider games of the 2000s-ish or whatever, back and forth, to me, those were like the Grey Cups, and they were in the regular season and the playoffs. It's Double Talk with Darian Durant and Charleston Hughes as a special guest this week for Campbell Safety Consulting right here on the Sportscage. We're going to take a break. This is 620 CKRM.
Nelson Homes is having a summer blowout sale on quick possession homes that you don't want to miss out on. Get free delivery anywhere in Saskatchewan on select in-stock show homes and spec home RTMs. For more information, visit their website, homes.nlc.ca. Or for general information, call 1-800-661-6534. That's the Nelson Homes Summer Blowout Sale. Nelson Homes, trusted quality and service since 1949.
Come watch former pro and collegiate level players battle it out for the national championship. The Baseball Canada Men's National Championships are coming to Optimus Park in Curry Field. Get a full event pass for just $50 or grab a day pass for $20. Twilight games after 5 p.m. are only $10. Tickets are available at the gate. August 20th opening ceremonies and Home Run Derby are completely free. Bring a glove. These bats don't miss. The Baseball Canada Men's National Championships are coming to Optimus Park in Curry Field. See you at the park.
You know them as TM Auctions, but Terry McDougall and Tam Kostanek would like to introduce their new name, McBids. Now known as McBids, they will continue to proudly serve Saskatchewan. With over 50 years combined experience in the auction and appraisal industry, experience, trust, and transparency are words they live by, and they will continue to do so as they invite you to join them as they continue their journey as McBids. Give them a call at 306-262-6327 or visit mcbids.ca. McBids, same trusted team, bold new brand.
Get ready for harvest with a used Case IH Combine from AE Chick 1 Farm Equipment in Storthoaks. They have a 2017 8240, 2019 8250, 2020 9250, 2021 8250, and 2023 8250. Call AE Chick 1 Farm Equipment, your local independent Case IH dealer in Storthoaks. 306-449-2255. That's 449-2255.
Are you relying on credit cards to make ends meet? Are you making just the minimum payment and carrying a balance month after month? It's time to break free from the debt spiral and take control of your finances. I'm Jasmine Brown, a licensed insolvency trustee at BDO here in Regina. During a free consultation, I can explain all your debt relief options and stop your credit card bills from piling up. Call 1-833-BDO-TALK or visit bdodebt.ca to discover your debt-free future.
Get it hot, get it fast, Western Pizza.
Can I help you?
Name's Terry Touchdown, sent by Western Pizza. I'm here to deliver the Saskatchewan Roughriders sweet deal. A large 3-topping pizza, 4 sticks of Greek souvlaki, a large Caesar salad, and a liter of soda. All for just $48.95 plus tax. And you're entered to win luxury suite tickets to watch the Riders, like a VIP.
And get it hot, get it fast, Western Pizza.
Text CKRM 306-936-6262. From skid steers to tents to power tools, anything you need to rent for that summer job is at Prairie Land Rentals. Deal with the owner, 600 Albert Street. It's time for the Sports Ticker, brought to you by Steelcraft Doors Regina, made in Western Canada for Western Canadians.
WCBL playoffs tonight. It's game 2 between the Red Sox and the Saskatoon Berries. With the Sox win, they'll move on to the WCBL final. Last night, they won game 1, 8-7 in 11 innings. Jays are off today and start a series with the Cubs tomorrow. On the ice at the Hlinka Gretzky Cup, Canada beat Finland 5-3. Tomorrow they're going to take on the Swiss. The UFC and CBS Paramount have struck a 7-year, $7.7 billion deal, which will have all UFC events streamed on the Paramount Plus app at no extra charge starting in 2026. And the Riders signed first-round global draft pick Sylvain Jungin, 6'4", 260 from Belgium. He played 5 years at Georgia Tech. The Riders are back on the practice field tomorrow. It's Maz here hosting the Sports Cage for Barney, along with Colson. Colson, did you hear that? Did Charleston say he's going to be chasing some bears and hope to shoot an elk in Wyoming? Did I hear that correctly?
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Do you often chase bears, or do they chase you? Not that I'm going to try, but that just seemed odd.
It's usually the bears that do the chasing, to my knowledge.
It's usually the bears that do. Yeah, it's usually the bears that do the chasing.
It's Charleston. That's all I can say. I'm
going to say. So if you missed any part of Double Talk, Darian, Durant, special guest Charleston Hughes, you can go back and listen to it on the podcast. And Charleston, to me, their era when they were in their primes, like the 2008 to 15-ish, those Stampeder Rider games, that was the grudge match and that was the rivalry. Because at the time, the Bombers were terrible. There wasn't much there. And usually the West final was going through Calgary or Saskatchewan, and those were the teams to beat, and they were some good ones.
Yeah, and outside of Winnipeg's trip to the 07 Grey Cup, I guess. But Winnipeg was in the East, and that's part of the reason why that rivalry wasn't there, right?
Yeah.
Because, here's the thing you have to know about me is my first Rough Rider memory is the 07 Grey Cup, because age thing coming back here, I was in grade 5, and I remember...
I think there's something going on with your mic. Maybe just hit a button there. I think there's something going on with your mic.
Is it better now?
Oh, yeah, way better now.
All right. We'll roll with that.
So 07 Grey Cup, Grey Cup is your first memory?
My first proper memory of a Rough Rider game. I remember stuff before that, but that's when I became a Rider fan, because then they start parading with the cup around, and I'm watching it on TV and everything, right? And so that's when I'm stretch that era back a little bit, but I'm 100% with you, because that's what I grew up watching, right? And from the formative years of being a literal elementary school kid into high school kid, I was watching all of those years. So I 100% agree with you.
And I'm not kidding, that chain link fence that they have at McMahon Stadium, which makes it so it looks like a prison yard, it was because after a Rider win, it wasn't a fight or anything, Rider fans were dogpiling on each other consensually, and the cops couldn't do anything because they're everybody was doing it willfully. No one was getting hurt and nobody was complaining. But then that was the result, and it's never come down since. And then there was that game in 2009 at that stadium. Ugh. Yeah, so Hamilton this week, and then the Riders. I know we don't talk about that. And then the Riders are on the road in Calgary a couple of weeks from there. Maybe we'll get Charleston to call Huff to see if we can sit in his private suite that night. And maybe they get a private jet and bring Charleston in for that game. That'll do it for the Sports Cage. If you missed any part of the show, you can always go back and catch the podcast. You can get it on Apple. You can get it on Spotify. You can watch it on YouTube, and you can get it anywhere with podcasts, including sportscage.com. We wrap the show today with Tegan Whitco and the Red Sox Report right here on 620 CKRM.
Showcasing the boys of summer. Time for another edition of the Sports Cage Regina Red Sox Report on 620 CKRM.
For Unifor 594, energy workers putting the care in career since 1942. Safety is our business. I'm Tegan Whitco. The Regina Red Sox are just one win away from the Western Canadian Baseball League final following another dramatic extra inning finish. Coming off a sweep of the Medicine Hat Mavericks in round 1, the Sox opened up the East Division final in Saskatoon with an 8-7 win in 11 innings in the Bridge City last night. Regina jumped out to a 5-0 lead, but Saskatoon stormed back with 7 unanswered runs across the 3rd and 4th innings. Ian Mons hit a solo homer to cut the lead to 1, and Jalen Myers' RBI tied it in the 7th inning. From there, it was a bullpen battle until the 11th inning. Jordan Tucker reached on a fielder's choice, moved to third on an error, and scored the game winner on Zaid Brannigan's clutch 2-out single. Reliever Aiden Page shut the door from the mound, tossing 4 scoreless innings with 6 strikeouts to earn the win for the Sox. The Regina Red Sox do look to punch their ticket to the finals tonight. First pitch is at 7 o'clock at Curry Field, and if needed, Game 3 goes on Tuesday night in Saskatoon. And that's your Red Sox report for Unifor 594.
Way to go, Travis Kelce. I mean, son.
As fun as it is watching your 5-year-old run the wrong way or pick dandelions on the football field, what if I told you you could watch your favorite sports or shows on the go anywhere? Well, you can with MaxStream TV from Echo Sound, your SaskTel authorized dealer. Take MaxStream anywhere you go.
Oh, wrong way, buddy.
MaxStream and great internet plans available at Echo Sound, your SaskTel authorized dealer in Fort Capel, echosound.ca.
Cal, did you bring your dog paddleboarding?
Of course, straight guy. He's my forever adventure buddy.